It's that time of the season. Welcome aboard. Appreciate you coming in there. Look at this now. Oh, yeah, baby. We are back on all cylinders here. 73 days until the start of training camp. 118 days until the start of the NFL season. How are you doing? Like button. Supers go to the top. And some of you pay for Big Sills' attention. For you to be acknowledged, some of you will have to pay for me to acknowledge your existence, because we do not give our attention to nobodies and to assholes. So some will have to pay for it. Or again, we appreciate all of you, and I mean each and every single one of you being here, and we thank you very much for coming aboard. You know what? The absolute disrespect of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts is in full force. You know what's funny? Today, I don't have to say anything of any of my previous comments towards Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts that is not starting to be said by the national media now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that, because disrespect season has begun now. And moi is not even saying it. These are people that cover the National Football League. Some of the most respected people on the planet in covering the Philadelphia Eagles are saying this now. So don't get mad at me. Get mad at the national perception of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. This is the perception of what they have towards these two guys. And there's no question, there's very little respect, not for their accomplishments, but for what their importance is. This is not me saying it. Some of you think one guy here is more important than the other guy when it comes to, like, the Belichick and Brady conversation. It's always one of the better ones that I laugh at. Who's more responsible for what in the success of the team? Bill Belichick, by far, is more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots than Tom Brady will ever be. If it wasn't for Bill Belichick, Tom Brady would be Joe Burrow. He'd be Joe Burrow in New England if it wasn't for Bill Belichick. He'd be Joe Burrow. He'd be Dan Fouts. He'd be Phillip Rivers. A great quarterback in a bad situation. Because organizations, they win championships. You know, it's funny how we have conversations all the time. Nobody on the planet would ever say that the Buffalo Bills are as good an organization as the Eagles. And there's no coincidence that the best organizations are always at the top. The Rams, Kevin Demoff, Les Snead, Stan Kroenke, Sean McVay. There's a reason they're at the top. Same with the Niners. Same with the Eagles. Same with the Packers. There's very few organizations in all of football, okay? All of football that have all those dynamics working. Very few have all those dynamics working, where you got a great GM, you got a great head coach, you got a great quarterback, and you've got, obviously, the owner that's willing to spend the money. Look at Woody Johnson and the Jets. That's why people go like this. Well, what about Joe Burrow? He hasn't won shit. I will give you Lamar. Lamar Jackson not winning in Baltimore There's no question. He's got to win in Baltimore. Took John Elway 14 years to win a Super Bowl. So hang in there. Now, again, a guy like Joe Burrow, that's what Tom Brady would be. If Tom Brady were in Cincinnati, Tom Brady would be Joe Burrow. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Bill Belichick was the one that built the defense. Bill Belichick was the one that found Wes Welker. Bill Belichick was the one that found Amendola. Bill Belichick was the one that found Gronkowski. Bill Belichick was the one that traded for Randy Moss. Bill Belichick was the one that traded for Junior Seau and Rodney Harrison. Bill Belichick was the one that made all the draft selections. Bill Belichick is the one that built the offensive line. Tom Brady had nothing to do with that shit. Had nothing to do with it. Zero. He developed him. Organizations win. And that's why Belichick's the greatest NFL coach of all time. Is because he built the greatest defense and he built the best organization in all of pro football. What they're doing now in New England is the same thing you're doing on what Andy Reid left behind when Andy Reid and Joe Banner were here. You guys just have hired a better GM, and the general manager is better than Joe Banner. That's why you're excelling. Howie's the one that's putting the personnel in the room. The organizational decisions. When it comes to hiring, that comes from the top. By the way, this isn't an opinion. Those are facts. Did Tom Brady make the trade or the draft of Gronkowski? No. Did he build that defense? No. Did he orchestrate the defensive game plans? No. I mean, it's a stupid conversation. Belichick also started out as a ball boy for Roger Staubach at Navy. That's right, his father coached there. Great pull. How about that? There's no coincidence. All of those things that he did at New England, make no mistake about it, he built the greatest dynasty in pro football history. Greatest dynasty. Greatest dynasty in NFL history. He built it during the salary cap era. And it's not close. Put this in context as we move into our topic here. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl every other year during the Brady and Belichick era. You will never in your life ever see that again. It's because the way the organization was built. Now, let's do this. The perception of him and Brady are legendary. What's going on in Kansas City is becoming legendary. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It's becoming legendary. 5 Super Bowls. Get this. Last year was the first time. Hey, Kyle, do me a favor. Last time that the Kansas City Chiefs didn't go to the AFC Championship game, if I'm not mistaken, let me see this. How many Kansas City Chiefs, how many years did the Kansas City Chiefs get to the AFC Championship game? Championship game with Mahomes and Reid. How many years? 7 consecutive years. They went to the conference championship game. Thank you, JoJo. 7 consecutive years, they went to the AFC championship game. They went to the Super Bowl 5 times in that time. Brett Veach, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes. Building that franchise up into legendary status. Okay. Now let's roll here into Philadelphia. The most least respected duo in NFL history has to be Hurts and Sirianni. I can Google almost 10 lists that have Sirianni on the hot seat or Jalen Hurts and how they look at Jalen Hurts. Why is that? Why is that? Here, I saw this on Birds today, and it was a wild topic. So, this guy, Greg Rosenthal, and a couple other people. By the way, some of these guys in the NFL Daily are pretty well respected. And I'll give you my takeaway. First, I want to read it. They have McVay 1, Shanahan 2, Dan Campbell 3. They had D'Amico Ryans. They had Sean McVay 1, Andy Reid 2, Mike McDonald, Seahawks 3, Shanahan 4, Ben Johnson 5, Harbaugh 6, Campbell 7, Sean Payton 8, Matt LaFleur 9, D'Amico Ryans 10, Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings 11, Vrabel 12, Liam Cohn 13, Brian Schottenheimer 14, Jesse Minter 15, John Harbaugh 16, Shane Steichen 17, Nick Sirianni 18th, Mike McCarthy 19th, Todd Bowles 20, Kellen Moore 21, Dan Quinn 22, Dave Canales just won a division title, number 23, Kevin Stefanski 24, Robert Saleh 25, Todd Monken 26, Joe Brady, these are the new coaches, 27, Zach Taylor, who went to a Super Bowl, 28th, Clint Kubiak 29, Jeff Hafley of the Dolphins 30, LaFleur 31, Mike LaFleur, and Aaron Glenn of the Jets, probably rightfully so, sitting at 32. Okay. What's the first thing you notice about this list? That these were people that I know who they are. Like, I know this list, and I know these guys and who these people are. This isn't here. And let me add this. Fox Sports, coaches on the hot seat. Brian Schottenheimer, 10. Matt LaFleur, 9. Dan Quinn, 8. Kevin O'Connell, 7. Shane Steichen, 6. Zach Taylor, 5. Dave Canales, 4. Todd Bowles, 3. Nick Sirianni, 2. And Aaron Glenn, 1. This is Fox Sports. And this is Ralph Vacciano. And this guy is a MVP voter. Let's go back to this list here with Rosenthal. You got Sirianni sitting at 18. You sit there and you say, there's Jesse Minter, brand new first-year head coach, at 15. You got Shane even ahead of Nick. Okay? Why do you think that is? Now, look, do I agree with this list? Me, if I'm putting ahead, here's my list. Reed 1. 2. I'd put McVay 2. 3. I'd put Shanahan 3. 4. I'd put Mike McDonald. Actually, I'll take that off. I'll put Sean Payton at 4. 5. I'll put Jim Harbaugh at 5. I'll put Ben Johnson at 6. I'll put Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. I'll put I'll put Mike McCarthy at 7. I'll put Kevin O'Connell at 8. I'll put Vrabel at 10. At 9. I'll do 10. If I had to pick one more, top 10 coaches in today's NFL, modern NFL, that could go anywhere in the National Football League and coach. Liam Cohen's only had 1 year. It's not happening. I'm not picking a first-year guy. A defensive guy is always tough to pick. Even Mike McDonald and DeMeco Ryans. Because, again, if you don't get the coordinator right on that side of the ball, you're subject to, like, swings like you have in Philly. I'm looking for a play-calling head football coach that can move the sticks and play in the modern-day NFL. Cohen, it's too soon. I would take him because I think, again, Liam Cohen is a heck of a coach. But it's in a shitty situation. Kubiak's never been a head guy. Bowles, I don't believe in. Man, I like Shane Steichen a lot. Brian Schottenheimer, I think, is a good coach. I really like Matt LaFleur. It's funny, I don't have a 10. My coaches would be Reed, McVay, Shanahan, Peyton, Jim Harbaugh, Ben Johnson, Mike McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, Mike Vrabel. They'll probably go with Matt LaFleur at 10. That's where I would go. And how I would look at that. That's where I would go. Okay? Today, you got to have an NFL head coach that evolves the passing game. So, miss anything here? Okay. So those would be mine. Again, the perception of Sirianni is nationally. Why? Howie's the biggest face of the franchise. I heard John McMullen say that Sirianni's the face of the franchise. No, he's fucking not. The face of the franchise is Howie Roseman. When all the success of the football team happens, Howie gets the credit. When the shit happens, Sirianni hits it and gets it. You're telling me that's not the way it went? Every year they failed? Every year they get success. Howie gets the credit. When the team shits itself, Nick gets it. That's facts. That's plain and simple. When the team's doing well, Howie Roseman is the executive of the fucking year. He's the architect, the brilliant Howie season. When something goes sideways, Nick's the asshole. Tell me I'm wrong. That's why he's got a shitty perception. Because the guy in the building that the general manager is has a bigger persona nationally and in the NFL than the head coach does. When you think of the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't think of Nick. They think of Howie. Okay, get this. Let me ask you this. Who has a bigger reputation in the NFL right now? Roseman or your head coach? By the way, having Nick down there, what is he? At 18? It's totally stupid. But that's how he's looked at. That's how he's looked at. Okay? That's totally how he's looked at. Howie is the most revered GM in football. That's even over a guy who's won more Super Bowls than him and John Schneider. Those are facts. Howie Roseman, hey, Prince, get this, okay? So, hey, Prince, do you believe that Nick Sirianni hired Matt Patricia? Do you believe that Nick just out of nowhere fired Sean Desai when they were 10-1? Remember when they were 10-1? They were 10-1 and they fired him. And he had beaten the Bills. He had beaten all those other great offenses and they fired him. Okay. Well, if J-Mac's right and Nick does all these hires, why does nationally, even the people that cover the team nationally, have such a low opinion of Nick? Prince, why do you think I'm not even giving you my opinion here right now. Go by others right now. Fox Sports has Nick the number 2 guy on the hot seat. The number 2 guy. And see this? This is so fucking stupid because the Eagles will have just as many primetime national football games this year as the Dallas Cowboys. That's a stupid take, as always. I'll tell you flat out, when the league hates you, they give you buys early in the year. Okay? That's when they hate you. So I guess Nick hired his own babysitter. Yeah. Well, have you ever seen that? You got a bodyguard on the sideline for a head coach. Roseman, but Nick is head of the team development. He'll be looking at hard for a head coaching job if he's fired. Okay, my friend, if he doesn't have Howie Roseman putting great talent around him, I don't give a shit who you are. You're not going to win. It's Jimmy's and Joe's. It starts with Jimmy's and Joe's. Think about this, my friend. Last year and the year before, even when you won the Super Bowl, you had the same basic offense in 2024 as you had in 2025. Okay? What was the difference? Talent. Talent was the difference. I was plain and simple. It was the complete difference in the football team was talent. Injuries, whatever you guys want to use as an excuse on why the football team failed last year. Anything you want to, whatever. However you want to look at it. It was talent last year that failed the football team. Big Dom hire still has me weak to this day. How are you going to be a head coach and need a bodyguard by your side at all times? Because he acts like an asshole on the sidelines. Why else do you put that guy there? Like, what redeeming quality does Big Dom have on the sidelines? What does he do for in-game stuff for the team? What does he do? Is he a coach? Is he a position coach? What does he do? He's got one job. That's to watch Sirianni. He's put there by the owner. I mean, he's put there by the owner. What other... Here, let's take a look at Big Dom's title as an Eagle coach. Eagles coaching staff. Let's see if he's even listed. Okay, let's see. Is he even listed? Okay, so here's Dom's name. Here's Dom's title. Senior advisor to the general manager, chief security officer, head of game day coaching operations. What exactly is that? I mean, what exactly is that? He's got the shortest bio in the entire organization. Why would you put a bodyguard on the sidelines next to Nick? Now here, it's not me. It's not just me. Okay, wait a minute. I'm not slandering him in any way. Slander? I asked you a question. What's his job? Game day coaching operations. Like, what the fuck is that? Tell you what, a guy like that ain't standing on Jimmy Johnson's sidelines or Sean McVay's sidelines. That ain't happening. Hey, Sills, with us only playing average to mediocre defense, could you see us going to the Super Bowl if offense improves to 15th? If so, who benefits, Hurts or Sirianni, and which one is sabotaged? Dude, if the defense plays average, you're not going anywhere. If the defense is not in the top 10, your football team this year will win 7 games. You're not good enough on offense. You know what's funny? I hear people talking about this new offense you have with the same people, and that the new offense is going to energize all this shit that happened a year ago. And you won 11 games. And you got killed by a fucking nobody 49er team. Okay? I mean, let me get back to the topic, though. Why is Sirianni looked at with so little regard? And the only people that are glazing him are the people in Philly. Some of them, not all of them. Why? Why do people that cover the league look at him and go, get this? I even heard McMullen say this. That guy wins 10 games this year. He's fired. Imagine that. You'll have a Hall of Fame resume and you'll get canned. There's something more to that, though. Well, the expectations. Why in God's name would you fire a good coach if you thought he was a good coach? You would fire Vince Lombardi if you thought he was Vince Lombardi? Now I know why the Eagles don't win and don't have more Super Bowls. If that's the case, and you got a coach who you think has the same kind of winning percentage as Vince Lombardi, why in the fuck would you fire him? Say he even has a losing season. You think anybody thought of firing Andy Reid because they had a losing season in Kansas City? Absolutely not. Are you crazy? Nick's a dude that has so many shortcomings, but you can't say anything until the one float is holding him above water breaks. Hey, Duel, why did they think about firing him 4 games into the 24 season? Why did they? We know that to be true. Again, look at this. Nick has broken every glass ceiling you put up, and yet he's on the hot seat. Same as Hurts. Both of them. Why? The expectations in Philly? Nobody's firing Sean McVay or Andy Reid in those places if they don't win Super Bowls. They're extending those guys because he turned the season around in his second and record continued. Oh, okay. Personally, like I said, whether it's Doug Peterson or anyone else, as long as you have Howie Roseman, you're not losing. How about this? Let me ask you this. Do you think Jeffrey Lurie believes he could replace Nick Sirianni and still win? Sirianni stinks. Him and Hurts benefit from all the other components to the organization. Anyone with half a brain like Reyes would understand that. No, they wouldn't. Hey, Joe. Joe, do you think that the owner believes they could replace Nick Sirianni? And they would win the same way? Do you believe that? I do. Says, I hope I'm wrong. I think Howie hedged his bets and hired Grizzard in case Mannion shits the bed. You think he could be a good head coach someday? I didn't have a problem with Josh Grizzard last year in Tampa. I had a problem with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles was an excuse maker last year. And for him to throw the offensive coordinator under the bus is ridiculous. The same people who dislike Jalen should also dislike Nick. Those two are closely connected. People say Nick doesn't have his quarterback and Jalen doesn't have his coach. But still, it works. Yeah, because Howie makes it work. got to realize Nick's been on the hot seat since 23 from the first collapse. Bowles is a good coach. I think he made excuses last year. He is. I mean, Todd Bowles was the guy who constructed a game plan that, quite frankly, he's got a winning. By the way, Todd Bowles has a winning record. If I'm not mistaken, Kyle, check that for me. It may be 500. But I think he's got a winning record versus the Eagles because of his defensive play calling. I think Bowles, it may be 2-2, but he's got a winning record versus the Eagles. I think they do. I may be wrong on that. Bowles had no chance. Bowles had no excuse for his defense. Grizzard had to deal with a carousel of injuries at wide receiver. Correct. That's right. Yes. Yes. And by the way, take a look at Jalen Hurts' numbers versus the Buccaneers. He destroys Hurts. Thank you, BC. Appreciate it, brother. Here, and by the way, here's the hot seat according to Fox. Aaron Glenn, Nick Sirianni 2, Todd Bowles 3. That's not my list. Sills, there was a post by Adam Schefter or by the NFL saying that a huge move for a top 10 quarterback is happening. You know anything of it? I would guarantee you that it's Hurts falling out of the top 10 and falling down at around 17. Texas, I think you're good in here, man. I think you do a good job. So I think he's top 3. Who would the Eagles hire if Sirianni's fired? I don't know that yet, but most likely it would be somebody, in my opinion, that has never been a head football coach before. Hey, well, don't make excuses for injuries. I love these guys. Well, AJ didn't play. AJ didn't play? Well, how's that on the Bucks? I love when people do that. Well, we didn't have this guy in, or we didn't have that guy. Hey, welcome to the NFL. Excuses are not an issue. Hey, by the way, the excuses that you make for your injured offensive line are fucking classic. Welcome to the NFL. Our O-line was hurt. So, that's part of it. That's right. Next man up. Stop crying about injuries. It's totally why you have 53-man roster. That's why I tell you, 24, you guys were loaded. It's one of the better rosters I've ever seen. Your depth was great. You don't have that depth anymore. Nick has 2 failures out of 2 when he's in control. Yet he's a winner. People don't understand why I have a problem with Nick. Where is his greatness when it is needed? That's correct. Prince. He's not a problem solver. When shit goes south, the whole thing goes south. When the thing's going well, he's a front runner. Head coaches are problem solvers. when something goes south, I don't look for my GM to fix it. Kyle Shanahan schemed up a game plan to beat the Eagles with guys who are not even on the team anymore. Those are problem-solving coaches. Something's going sideways, not going well. And he had no answers in 23, and he had no answers in 25. How about this? I thought maybe he had better answers in 25 than he did. Here's the difference between 23 and 25 for Sirianni, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why I don't really think a lot of the guy is because I think he had better answers in 25 than he did in 23. And he learned that he had none. That 2023 collapse is on him. It's on him. The 25 wobbling is on him. If John McMullen's right, you are two first-time coordinators, Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo, and now you've done it again. That's on him. If this thing fails with Sean Mannion, how is if that fails, how in God's name is that not on him? I mean, right? By the way, here, let's do this. Why is there a negative perception of him? Yeah, I got storms where I'm at right now. You tell me. Why is there a negative perception on Sirianni if he's got this great win percentage? Why does every single person that covers this league outside of Philly have a negative thought process of Nick? Why? I'll take any one of your answers. Why? Hey, Prince. Sills is a Harvard student today. Prince, tell me why people have a perception of him today that's not strong. Look, that list that came out, 17th best coach in the league, and you got rookie guys ahead of him. It's a stupid list. But the list, that's not the point. The point of that, and it's on multiple Fox Sports, that dude's list today. Why is people and their opinion of him so low? Why is it so low? Anybody? Because they see what we see, Sills. Okay? Doesn't act like a head coach. Didn't you just lose to the Niners? Yeah. A backup Niner team. Because our teams have been so good. You mean talent-wise? By the way, folks, I didn't make a list today. I made you one off that dude's, but those aren't mine. Don't get mad at me for those lists. I've been giving you my opinion of the guy. Here, I want to do one last thing, and I know some of you have heard this before, okay? Go over here. Here, let me go here. Okay. Let me put this in here. And I'm going to do this one more time. Okay. 14-2. 14-2. 10-6. 14-2. 10-6. 13-3. 12-4. 12-4. Does anybody know who that is? Does anybody know who that is? And that guy's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And nor has he ever been considered in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One more time. 14-2, Super Bowl champion. 14-2, lost in an NFC championship game. 10-6, 14-2, lost in an NFC championship game. 10-6, lost in the NFC championship game. 13-3, won the Super Bowl. 11-5, lost in the divisional round. And 12-4, lost in the divisional round. And he's 10-5 in the postseason. Who is that guy? You got it. Guy won 108-35 in San Francisco. Sirianni has nothing on that guy. And nobody thought anything of George Seifert. You know why? Because they thought it was Carmen Policy, Eddie DeBartolo, Bill Walsh pulling the strings upstairs with all the great assistants. John McVay building all of them. All of those guys. Okay? Those dudes there are guys that absolutely were, again, ahead of the trend when it came to, and Seifert went for the ride. And for the record, okay? When you see lists like this, look, do I think that Nick Sirianni, honestly, Jesse Minter, like I said, is better? Or who else? Brian Schottenheimer? Come on. Liam Cohn had a good year. So what? Vrabel was a good coach in Tennessee. Coach of the year and all that. He's a good coach. But come on. And by the way, 18th? I don't even have George Seifert there. Or Nick Sirianni there. I think Laurie and Howie are on the fence with Sirianni, seeing as he can't right the ship when it goes south. I think they want a play-sitting coach and a West Coast quarterback. I think you mean play-calling head coach and a West Coast quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Peterson had a good year also. I think he had a good run. Vrabel's getting inside help, if you know what I mean. Well, I got him. Like, I put Nick in the next 10, like 12, 11, somewhere in there. 13. You got to get credit for dealing with the quarterback he has. That's the biggest strength of Nick Sirianni, is dealing with the quarterback he has. That's the biggest strength, and all of those deficiencies. Jalen Hurts is not a modern-day quarterback. He doesn't take advantage of the NFL rules. The NFL rules are set up for pass interference, the passing game. The Eagles don't take advantage of it. Why do you think the NFL has all of these passing rules? Can't hit the defenseless receiver. Pass interference is so subjective. Nick's greatest strength is dealing with the quarterback and knowing that the quarterback is not a skilled dude. That's his greatest asset. And that's why there is a part of me that goes, he knows his kid can't throw the ball to save his life. And he wins in spite of the kid. And the kid benefits more from the talent around him than Nick does. Nick's got to make it work. The kid can't throw the ball. And so Nick deals with that. That's his greatest strength. He can't. I've said it before. This is a reason why, again, you have made all the massive changes in your offense and why you drafted the way you drafted. He has a 750 win percentage, including the playoffs. He isn't an elite coach, but deserves credit. I think so. Steven, I'll go there. He does deserve credit. Is he a top flight guy that's going to build an organization? Fuck no. He has no say in the personnel. He has zero say. Like on draft day, his input is zero. Like zero. Zero. Shit. How many times, get this, how many times has Vic Fangio come out last year when he said this? Yeah, Dory Jackson showed up. I didn't really know who the player is, but there he was. If Vic Fangio doesn't know who the fuck they're bringing in and putting on the roster, I guarantee the head coach barely knows. Jerkoff will glaze Tomlin in Harbaugh, and they aren't accomplished and don't call plays. Dude, Mike Tomlin is completely in control of the personnel, and he was in control of the head and the assistant coaches. I know this because I know my friends who got hired there. I know this. Tomlin had say in the personnel. They work together. Sills, it's because he's not an X's and O's guy. But here, AG, he was an X's and O's guy. Phillip Rivers had his best year with Nick being involved with the play calling. When they were in San Diego together, when they were in San Diego together, Phillip Rivers had his best year with Sirianni around him. And then when Phillip went to Indianapolis, they did a marvelous job there with him. He's good team manager, which is a way to do it. Some, me, like it, some don't. But mind you, these reports are outside the team. Okay. I was there for it. I covered the Chargers when Nick Sirianni was there. We aired their games. I did their pre- and post-game show when they were on the Mighty 1090. So I was there numerous times with Tom Telesco. And Chuck Pagano. And by the way, Bobby King was there. I was there for all of that. I did the pre- and post-game for the Chargers when Nick Sirianni was the wide receiver, then became the quarterback coach and the passing game coordinator. Shields, we have to be honest. The reason Sirianni gets no respect in Philly is because he rides Howie's coattails and plays the brown nose game, period. Hey, I would too. The players actually like Sirianni, which is the most important. So childish. The coaches, the players actually like the coach. I don't give a shit if the players like the coach. You better be doing right by the coach and the players. Damn, dude. That's not how this works. That's not how this works here, man. The best test of a coach values is which teams would grab him if he's available. teams would line up for McVay, Reed, Shanahan. Who would want Sirianni? The Jets? If that's a great question, actually, Rasputin. If Nick Sirianni were to leave, okay, and he were to get fired, like John Harbaugh, what quality does he bring to the table? Is it personnel? No. Is it hiring of assistants? That's suspect at best. Who's been the best coach he's hired offensively? Kellen Moore or Shane? I think it's Shane because of the quarterback. The offense performed the best in 22 than it did in 24. Your run game was elite. You were balanced in 22. You were not balanced in 24. You had an unbalanced football team in 24. In 22, you were balanced. Ran the ball, threw the ball. Okay? What does Nick bring to an organization? Players like him, according to one. I don't give a shit about that. The players hated Bill Belichick. They couldn't stand the guy. Chuck Noll was hard to deal with. Jimmy Johnson, you respected him. You loved him because he put you in a position to win. That guy wasn't very likable. You didn't play for coach and love coach. You love him later because of what he brought to you. And you realize what he was doing then. You didn't, love had nothing to do with it. You respected him. Fucking love your coach. Who gives a shit about that? Liking and loving my coach is irrelevant. Do you win? I'd rather have Howie and some random coach than deal with a guy just because he has autonomy. Okay. Hey, listen. Yeah, that's what the Eagles have. To sit there and think that you, how about this? Who's more important to this run in the last 5 years? Howie or Nick? Who's replaceable? Howie or Nick? If you had to replace one of those guys, Howie or Nick, who would you replace? Right? How about this? In Kansas City, who would you replace? Andy Reid or Brett Veach? Let's go down that list. Who would you replace in Kansas City? Brett Veach? Or would you replace Andy Reid? Who would you replace? Brett Veach was brought into Kansas City by Andy Reid. Who would you replace in San Francisco? John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan? Who would you replace? Shanahan or Lynch? Yeah, Sue would say Kyle. Well, help me out. Outside of Jim Harbaugh, name me a coach since they went to the Super Bowls that they've had in the building. This is a win-win year for us. Either Hurts thrives in the new scheme or we get a new quarterback and coach next year. It's a telltale year. Thanks, dude. All right, let's do this one here. DFW. In Los Angeles, who would you replace? Sean McVay or Les Snead? The GM. Who would you replace in Green Bay? Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst? Go around the league with good coaches. Here's another place, though, that kind of goes down the line of Howie. Seattle. I think I'd take the GM over Mike McDonald. Okay? I think I'd take John Schneider over Mike McDonald because he hired him. Remember, they were going through ownership change when he hired Mike McDonald. Hey, and for the record, the Packers general manager has been on the job 3 years. And let's take a look at this. One thing has been evident, that the head coaches in Green Bay, 97% of the snaps in Green Bay have come by 3 dudes, Favre, Rodgers, and Love. Somebody's getting great coaching. And look at the coaches they've had. Holmgren. I think there was a guy, Mike Sherman, Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur. He had 3 quarterbacks during that entire 40 years. It's almost been like 35, 40 years almost. Favre was there 17 years. Rodgers was there 14 years. Love's been there 5. It's like 35 years now. They've had 3 guys in the building. 3 quarterbacks in that time frame is insane. John McVay or George Seifert, John McVay was a terrible head coach with the New York Giants. I know John McVay. By the way, excuse me, for the record, John McVay was a brilliant scout. And when he got fired by the New York Giants to be the head coach, my uncle fired him. Robustelli hired and fired John McVay. He sits out of football for a bit. Bartolo hires him. He's the guy that built those teams and those great football teams. John McVay was a spectacular personnel guy. He was special. Seals, for the last few weeks, we've been saying, why are they changing the offense? Please tell no idea what's going on. I apologize I don't know what's going on. We got bad weather going on right now. So I think that's kind of what it is. Yes. Let's see here. Lori gives Howie the leeway to do what he does. How many owners will give upfront cash like that to build a great roster? None. Not even Jerry Jones does that. Absolutely. And by the way, what did that guy say to? Dude, are you crazy? Are you think that I'm the only guy that talks about Josh Allen the way the rest of the people who cover the league cover him? You're the only asshat that fucking doesn't get it. It's embarrassing. Dude, get this. According to this dude, he's under the impression that the Eagles would not want Josh Allen as their starting quarterback over Hurts. Are you crazy? Sills, it will be interesting to see if this really is going to be Mannion's offense or if they're going to still be some Sirianni plays still built in. Of course they're going to be. Dude, you mean the organization hasn't won shit? I just told, hey, Ty, if Tom Brady was in Cincinnati, he'd be fucking Joe Burrow. He'd be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Hey, by the way, don't get pissed off at me that the national people think dog shit of your head coach. That's not, hey, I don't think of him like that a first-year head coach is better than Nick. I don't even think that. But nobody respects your guy nationally. Why is that? Got a great winning percentage, and yet, get this, I'll tell you why. Because your general manager's the face of your franchise. And Howie takes the glaze of winning away from him. Well, you don't think that's true? Hey, folks, how many people in here think that Nick gets the credit when they win? How about all you Nick Sirianni guys? You guys think Nick gets all the credit when they win? Or Howie? Who gets more credit? Howie or Nick if the Eagles win? Curious, just to see what you guys think. Who gets the credit if the team wins? Nick or Howie? Who gets the majority of the credit? Here, you can answer that. I'll sit back and wait here. Who gets the most? Who gets the glazing? Who gets the glazing? Who gets the glazing? Just answer the fucking question. Okay? Who gets the credit? Nick or Howie? Can't answer it. Won't answer it. Because you know it's Howie. Howie season. Howie's the best general manager in all of football. Funny. All you hear is Howie's the best GM in football. Then when it comes to your head coach, yeah, you know he's kind of a good coach. Okay? Why? For asking a question? Who gets the majority of the credit? You want to know why your coach isn't respected? By the way, I didn't make this list or these two lists today. These weren't my list. Don't get pissed at me. Depends on the game. Answer the question. Who gets the credit if the Eagles win? Nick or Howie? You can't answer it. That answers it for me. Okay. So let's go to this one. And it's wild. There's no doubt. And hey, and for the record, let me underscore this. Do I think Nick Sirianni is the worst coach in football? Absolutely not. Look at what he's got to deal with at the quarterback position. And that's his strength. He had to deal and maneuver around the quarterback's deficiencies. And they won. Yes. Hey, Kellen Moore got the same respect by getting that Saints job because he worked around the quarterback's deficiencies. Let me ask you this. Why do you think Kellen Moore got that Saints job? Winning, and you keep chasing your tail wondering how. Not me. Those weren't my list. I'm not the one putting up Nick's on the hot seat. I'm not the one writing that. I never wrote that. Those aren't my columns. And they're everywhere across the country as we head in. What is it? 73 days to camp. I'm not the one writing those. I'm not the one writing those columns. That's not me. Don't get pissed at me for other people writing that stuff. Okay? Kellen Moore is better than Nick Sirianni. Who said that? Kellen Moore is more responsible for his offense than Nick. He's the head coach and play caller. Common sense. He calls the plays and he hires the talent. He's got more job responsibility. Nick doesn't call plays, and he has no say in the personnel. Sales, what's more impressive about Laurie is that he's willing to throw money, and one of Howie's misses, they don't let mistakes fester. They act quickly, but sometimes they overreact. I think the latter end of this is more so why some of the issues that they have, they overreact. Here, look at this one here, Bob. You want to know the ultimate overreaction? Look at Cleveland. So Cleveland's looking at getting Brandon Sorsby in that supplemental draft. So they're going to have Sorsby, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Deshaun Watson. And the kid they got from Arkansas, Green. I mean, you don't think they'd want Baker Mayfield back? You got 5 quarterbacks. You better pray Watson is good, and he's the one. Because you still got $143 million guaranteed dollars around that guy's neck. You better pray that guy can play. Look at how they missed that and misappropriated funds, underevaluated, and you got a whole room full of stiffs. That's bad coaching. That's bad evaluating. That's front office blunders. That's what dooms the Browns, is those kind of decisions. Look at the Jets. The Jets do a pretty decent job at a lot of places in their roster, except the quarterback. Except the QB. They haven't had a quarterback win a division there since Chad Pennington. I think Nick sees the quarterback's problems, and he identified it. Once they got Barkley, I told you that day, once they got Barkley, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were not going to be the offense any longer in where they ran the offense through. They ran the offense through the run game, and they ran the offense through the offensive line. Jets have honestly had a good defense these past couple seasons. Yeah, and then they get rid of Sauce Gardner and Williams. It's ridiculous how they operate. Realistically, how many Super Bowls would the Eagles have won if Burrow was in that team? I don't know they could have managed Joe Burrow. Every quarterback that they've had, they've mismanaged. From Wentz to Hurts now. You're not hiring coaches to help them. And you never brought talent around Wentz. Dude, the talent level around Wentz compared to the talent level around Hurts was C+ around Wentz. Now you got you had A talent around Hurts. You never put A talent around Carson Wentz. Like ever. This guy had no receivers over 500 yards one year. He still threw for 4K. Sales, how does the supplemental work? I'm not really familiar with it. Reggie White went in a supplemental draft. I did too. So 2026, if you draft a kid and you designate it as a second or third or fourth round pick, the next year's draft, you lose that draft pick in that particular round. The Bucs took me, the first player taken in the third round, number 56. I think Jalen Hurts, I think he went 53. And you lose that pick the next year. That's how the supplemental, like when Brian Bosworth me and Chris Carter went in that draft. The Seattle Seahawks lost their first-round pick the following year. The Bucs lost their third-round pick, and I think the Eagles lost their fourth-round pick for Chris Carter. I think the owner saying he loves a quarterback is a crock of shit. No, I think he likes him. Because if he still believed they would hire the correct personnel to coach him, I think they got just a different way of doing shit, dude. Why does AJ want out of the Eagles team? Because the quarterback in the offense is not going to be a good passing offense. It will never be a good passing offense as long as Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback. The Eagles will never have a good passing game as long as he's in the building. So I think the Eagles learned a talent lesson after Wentz. Now, will the Eagles realize they need real coaches on offense? Trev, they really don't. They don't hire like they do defensively. They got great coaches on defense. They got Bobby King over there. They've got Clint Hurt. They had Christian Parker. I mean, they got great coaches over there. Bob, Sills, I might be going out on a limb here, but I see Howie grabbing Sorsby with the second-round pick. Tanner will be traded. I don't see Sorsby getting past the third round. Sorsby just signed a $6.1 million nil deal at Texas Tech. I mean, that's not cheap money. And because of his gambling in high school, I don't know how he's going to be perceived going into the NFL draft. I don't know that yet. You know, they frown on that shit. Sills, I have to disagree that Hurts is mismanaged. He is a limited guy, and with limited guys, you have 2 Super Bowl appearances and a win. No, I think Nick has done a nice job at managing around those limitations. He's not a good passer. Hey, after 5 years, guy, what else do you need to be seen? This is not a one-year deal where he had a shitty year passing. He's been a shitty passer the entire time. I'm not sure what you're needing to see. We're going into year 7 of his NFL career. You think something's changed? All of a sudden now, he's going to be some prolific passer? So Howie looks a genius until the league cracks down on those void years. Haven't yet, but true. Eagles lead the league in over with 427 in void cap charges from 26 to 33. 33, really? Hey, I get it. 2 Super Bowl appearances, but he's fumbled one. The team did a great job getting to those Super Bowls. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic. As long as that O-line holds up, the Eagles will be fine. If that O-line does not hold up, you'll be worse off than you were in 25. Let me ask you something. If Lane misses extended time this year, what are your chances of making it to the NFC title game? Still good? He played 10 games last year. He'll be 35 or 36, I think, this year. What do you think? So Hurts is a lot like most dual-threat quarterbacks. Once they stop running and want to be pocket passers, they usually don't make it, especially with limited skill set. Cunningham is one of the very few. Randall was just a superstar athlete. By the way, I want to show you something else here, too. Okay? Let me show you this. So, this is a writer. Luz Scagalia. He's one of the writers that covers the National Football League. This came out 2 days ago. And I knew that some of these lists that were coming out, Adam Schefter is also talking about his list coming out. And this guy's one of the beat writers for the National Football League. He came out with his 2026 NFL quarterback list. Got Stafford 1, May 2. I guess this is based off of 26 or 25, excuse me, heading into the 26 season. Josh Allen 3, Mahomes 4, Burrow 5, Lamar 6, Goff 7, Dak 8, Bo Nix 9, Trevor Lawrence 10, Justin Herbert 11, Jordan Love 12, Sam Darnold 13, Stroud 14, Brock Purdy 15, Caleb Williams 16, Jalen Hurts 17. Here's what he wrote about him. Jalen Hurts is an average quarterback. He has below average passer and an above average runner. For years, the Philadelphia Eagles have been stacking wins, but this team just cannot find much stability. Hurts is a reason for that. His limits as a passer really prevent the Eagles from fielding a dynamic enough offense to sustain consistency. And this is the truth despite Hurts is constantly being surrounded by elite players. Something has to give either way this season. If it's another shaky season on offense, and if Hurts is again not really playing notable football, we might have to begin having some tough conversations. But some of us have already had these. Hurts is an average quarterback on a loaded team. I didn't write that. I didn't write that. I mean, those aren't my words. I mean, so you got a quarterback and you got a head coach that really doesn't have a lot of respect. And yet you're 50-18 in 4 years. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Anybody with Jalen Hurts' resume or Nick Sirianni's resume, you'd be talking about them like they're Hall of Fame guys. I've had 3 Hall of Fame voters on here go, Hurts is nowhere near a Hall of Famer. These are guys that vote for the dudes every year. I don't vote. I help pick some of the guys that will eventually vote. As Jason Cole told you, I'm not really supposed to say it too much, but I'm on this panel that there's like about 250 guys that we put on this list. And there's like 35 of us. And we'll put guys on a list and we're on this panel. Pick 15 guys you like. And I'll pick 15 guys. And then these guys will ask me pick 5 dudes. And I pick 5 dudes. I'm not voting. They're just asking my opinion. And I help gather some of the information on the Hall of Famers. Okay? Prime example of an OC who knows what they are doing. You should have written that because you said it for years now. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let's see here. Hang on here. There we go. I saw pretty much every snap Jalen took at Bama. And I still say his career has been a massive success. Correct. It has. It has. For what he is, shit, Tony Romo is a massive success. Undrafted. Nobody thought shit of him. Came out of a small school. Became the Cowboys' all-time leading passer. Made a shitload of money. The expectations on Romo were 0. Hurts was a second-round pick. Well, why do you think Sirianni made Hurts so turnover adverse? Because he can't pass. He knew everyone around him was enough to win. Yeah, that sounds right. Jalen, can you imagine? Hurts, don't make the shitty play. We're going to win. There's too many good players here. That's exactly what was said. But Jimmy Johnson used to beat that into us all the time. Jimmy never cared about the spectacular play. He cared you didn't make the bad play. Thursday can't come fast enough for schedule release. Want to see when the bye weeks are for the Eagles and Cowboys, plus what stretches are going to be tough. I would say this. I would hope that the Eagles don't get any bye weeks early. With that football team, they're going to need a mid-season. I hope they're not too late in the year. You don't want to see them too late in the year. Sean Payton found Tony Romo. Not hard, though. I think he played at Peyton's alma mater. What was that? Northern Illinois? I think he had Northern Illinois. Does that sound right? I think Northern Iowa was Kurt Warner. If passing stats were so integral, why the fuck do all these high passing number quarterbacks fold in the playoffs? Again, you're missing the point. Because the NFL is set up for the passing game. And the quarterback you have is not set up for sustained success. This is why you made all these personnel changes. Dude, look at the people you've hired. I mean, just look at the folks you've hired and what they've done. Sills, was there much of a schematic or play calling difference in 24 and 25? Or was it just the effectiveness of the run game? Yes. Effectiveness of the run game. And when they had to throw we're going to get Zander up here in a minute. What did Xander Krauss say at the beginning of the season last year in September? What was the number one thing he kept saying? They're going to have to rely on Hurts to make plays in the passing game. You remember him saying that? Well, he couldn't. And there was the difference in 24. The run game was not where it was, which nobody expected it, unless you're M. Dickhead, and you sit there thinking that he was going to go for $2,000 again. I'm like, yeah, not happening. And when it didn't, get this, if you think if that guy has a normal 1,300-yard year, the Eagles don't win a Super Bowl in 24. You had a historic year running the ball and defense. Do you know what you would have been in 24 if you didn't have that run game? You would have been the 2025 Texans. That's what you would have been. The 2025 Texans. Kind of decent on offense and exceptional on defense. So we'll see. If you can't fix third down, you're going to be in trouble. All right. Boy, I'll tell you what, I tuned on Birds 365. That thing was like digging for gold. It was just a gold mine because there's old Big Z. Jesse Minter comes in ahead. Oh, Nick Sirianni. Who the fuck is Jesse Minter? Jesse Minter, was he the D coordinator in Los Angeles with the Chargers? Is that the guy that was in Michigan as the DC in Michigan when he won a national title? Oy vey. without further ado, the man who drinks the really fancy Cokes, our boy, Big Z, Xander Krauss, joins us now. How you doing?
What's up, Sills? How you doing, brother?
Dude, in your opinion, let's start with Nick. Why do you think there's disrespect for Nick?
Well, I think Howie being as good as he is, I think some of the antics that Nick has done. I mean, look, he hasn't painted himself in the best light at times. And the other thing I think is all of the changes around him and kind of the changing offense where you have good, bad, and it felt like that happened a couple of times there. So people tied the success to the coordinators and the failures to Nick. Now, do I think that's entirely fair? No. Do I think you're not you, but people in general are a doorknob if they would take Jesse Minter over Nick Sirianni? Hell yeah, I do. I think you're a complete doorknob. I mean, the guy's been coaching in the NFL for 5 years. He's been to 5 straight playoffs. He's been to 2 NFC title games. I don't need to read you his accolades. They're impressive. Now, that's not to say it's all Nick Sirianni, but I mean, come on, man. This is a league where 95% of hires, 95% of quarterback contracts, 95% of expectations are not met. Most teams, most coaches do not win. Mike Tomlin, and I like Mike Tomlin a lot. He's one of my favorite coaches. Really? Like, that's a guy that's viewed as successful because he's mediocre every year or is a just above winning record. Like, what is our new metric to gauge success for these coaches? Again, it's not to say it's all Nick Sirianni. I just think people take it to extremes. I mean, to sit here and tell me he's the 18th best coach in the league, I mean, come on. You got to be brain dead to take 17 coaches before Nick Sirianni. And I don't think anybody really would, but I guess that's how they would. Now, to your point, though, real quick about it does shed light on the perception of him. And the perception of him is not very good from people around the league. So it is what it is, but he's going to keep winning, or he's got to keep winning, and we'll see how it goes from there.
So, since Jeffrey Lurie owned the team in '94, you've had 8 losing seasons.
That's pretty good.
Okay, right. 8 losing seasons in over 25 years. Right? I mean, you're it's a pretty long stretch of success.
That's over 30 years, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do you believe that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie would struggle without Nick?
It's a good question. No, I don't. Like, in my heart, I don't. I don't think they would struggle without him. Do I think they could replace him and have the same outcomes every year? No, I don't, especially the last 5. But yeah, I mean, look, remember, Jeffrey and Howie run a good ship. And at the end of the day, they are controlling the steering wheel more than Nick is. It's their ship. They built it. They own it. They do everything within it. So, yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they would struggle without Nick.
Do you think the biggest asset that Nick Sirianni has in the Jeffrey Lurie era is this? He's the easiest coach to work with anybody he's ever hired.
Well, yeah, and they like that. They don't like, they want a yes man kind of. That's kind of their style. And Nick does that.
That's kind of a harsh way of doing it, but they want a guy to go along with what they're doing. And
well, maybe to the point that you just said, maybe that's why. Maybe they know, hey, we wouldn't struggle without you, If you're going to be the head coach of our team, you're going to do it on our terms, or you're not going to be the head coach of our team. Go ask Doug Peterson that, right? I mean, he won a Super Bowl for the damn team the first time, and they didn't even care. So
I think that's why they hire coaches that have never had head coaching experience in the NFL before.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they're so successful with all of them.
That's why they're replaceable.
Well, Sills, maybe you're right.
That's why the perception of him is so low.
Well, I think the perception of him being low is a lot about, too, some of the public antics that he's gone through.
Okay.
Which are his own doing. But, for example, when you have, me and you right now focus on the Eagles a lot. Obviously, you talk about him every day. You have been talking about him in the entirety of the Nick Sirianni era. I think you were hired
Yeah.
the same offseason he was hired, right, to be here, right? So you've seen it all. You're up close and personal with it. When you have guys who pay attention to the league, they don't maybe go as deep into all the nitty gritty of the Eagles, but they see the big stuff, and the big stuff is him, roasting a fan on the sideline. The big stuff is the story that the owner nearly fired him in the middle of the season. The big stuff is that the Sirianni offense doesn't work, and it was all Shane Steichen. Like, even if these aren't true, these are some of the big storylines that at least the perception is out there, and that's slanted the opinion of them. Now, there are plenty of Eagle fans in this chat right now who think Nick Sirianni sucks too. I wouldn't hire a fucking single one of you, by the way. And Senor crying about Nick Sirianni. Senor, your gauge on talent is fucking putrid, my friend. But we'll see.
Okay, how about this? Is this a fair comment during the Nick Sirianni era? Like you said, we've been here following him. If the team wins, and I think this is the biggest one, if the team wins, Howie gets the credit. If the team loses, Nick gets shit on.
Yeah, he's the dude. It's a tale as old as time. I mean, this is like mobster shit. You know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of?
In KC, when they win,
wait, you know what it reminds me of?
Don't get shit on.
Oh, that's because they don't have a lightning rod set up. It reminds me of one of my all-time favorite TV shows, The Sopranos. And when the guy in the beginning dies, I forget who was the guy who died? The original boss, the original capo dies. And Tony goes into the corner restaurant.
Carmine.
I forget who it was who died. It was first season. And Tony goes into the restaurant and he says, Uncle Junior, we need a boss of the family. And I want you to be the boss of the family. Meanwhile, he's taking all the shit. He's the lightning rod. Everyone's looking over here. Meanwhile, Tony's handling everything, managing all the capos, doing everything. It's the lightning rod technique. That's what Philly is, man. That's what Philly is. It's a lightning rod, and Nick has become the lightning rod for them. And they like that. And I think Nick is okay with it, to be honest.
Okay. So why
JAKIB Creel, that's what it was.
Okay, yeah, that's it. JAKIB Creel, that's right. The kid ended up his son or something like that. They ended up having to kill him.
His son got burnt later in the show, yeah.
Yeah, he had to get whacked. He was also
he was a fucking idiot, Yeah, I gotta rewatch
Tony's daughter.
I'm rewatching it. I love that show. Gosh, are you freezing on me? Yeah, he's frozen. Watch, he'll be back in like 8 seconds.
No idea what's going on today. Got bad weather.
Dude, it's weird. Mine too, though. It's like I pay for this business internet, and like I'll wake up one day and it just sucks. I'm like, fuck is the point?
It's on your it's on your end too?
Not today. It's on your end. I don't know. Mine might not be good either. Who knows?
All right. So let's move over then to Jalen Hurts here. And let's go here. So I just read, and the first big list came out, and this is from Yahoo. Power rankings on quarterbacks. And again, I know it was going to be low. Here's the list here. Got Stafford 1. And by the way, this is based off of 25. Stafford 1, May 2, Allen 3, Mahomes 4, Burrow 5, Lamar 6, Jared 7, Dak 8, Knicks 9, Trevor Lawrence 10, Justin Herbert 11, Jordan Love 12, Darnold 13, Stroud 14, Purdy 15, Caleb Williams 16, and Jalen Hurts 17. This is what this national guy from Yahoo wrote. Jalen Hurts is an average quarterback. He's a below average passer and above average runner. For years, the Philadelphia Eagles have been a stacked football team, and they're stacking wins, but this team just cannot find stability. Hurts is a reason for that. His limits as a passer really prevent the Eagles from fielding a dynamic enough offense to sustain consistency. And this is true despite Hurts constantly being surrounded by elite players. Something has to give either way this coming season. If it's another shaky season on offense and Hurts is again not really playing notable football, we might have to begin to have some really tough conversations. We've already done that here in Philly, but some of us have already been there. Hurts is an average quarterback on a loaded team. What do you make of that perception of how people outside Philly see him? That's
Well,
not.
I mean,
He's not alone in that thought.
yeah, but I think it's 2 years in the making. I mean, the team had super
Okay.
success, in 2024, and I don't blame Jalen Hurts for taking a back seat there. I mean, you had a historic running season, and then last year they tried to run it back, so Hurts didn't do as much. Now, I think the fair criticism of Hurts last year was when they needed him to step up to make up for that. I don't feel as though he did it to the level that he needed to do it at. So I think that's fair, but look, it's 2 years in the making. They've had a great roster. They had huge success in 2024, and they really did it in a way that didn't ask Jalen to be anywhere close to an elite quarterback. And he was good with that, to his credit. I don't know if that everybody would be good with that. So he took kind of a back seat that year, and you don't reach expectations last year. And I think now people are extra critical of him. I don't think it was that off base what he said. I think it was a little much, a little heavy for me. I mean, he's kind of talking about him like he's not a good player. I mean, Jalen is a good player. He has deficiencies, and some of those are harder to overcome than others. But I do think he's a good player, and I think that was a little harsh. I mean, come on. But I think it's 2 years in the making. It's the team, had a running offense, and it is what it is. The only person who's going to have to correct that is going to be Jalen. I mean, even Jalen's fanboys have to admit, in 24. He wasn't an exceptional player. He didn't have to be. It's not his fault. They didn't ask him to be. They didn't need him to be, but he wasn't. So now with that, success that the team had, people are going to look at that and say, well, they could have done it with anybody, and that's kind of something he's going to have to live with. But at the end of the day, I think he's good with the ring and the glory of the Super Bowl. So I understand where he's coming from, but I think that's where it's coming from.
Do you?
By the way, who wrote this fucking list? Guy sounds like a stiff.
I'll send it to you. Here. Do you subscribe to this? You think Hurts was better in 22 and 23 or 24 and 25?
Yeah, definitely 22 and 23. Yeah, I thought he was fine in 23. I mean, I thought he was overly criticized for 23. Not to say he was perfect. He turned the ball over a little bit too much, but I mean, he threw the ball at a high clip. He moved the offense pretty well. They were a top 10 offense. I believe they had DeAndre Swift that year, if I'm not mistaken. I thought they moved the ball well. I mean, his turnovers ticked up a little bit too much, but I thought he had a good year. And then 22 was obviously he was a freaking great year for him. So yeah, I think he was better 22, 23 than he was 24, 25.
Okay. What's the difference in them between those 2 years? Those 4 years?
Well, personnel on the team, obviously you add Saquon Barkley and you're able to do what he did. But I also think the player has changed. I mean, if you go and I've given this homework, not to give homework to people, but I've said this before. If you find time on YouTube, just go and type in 22 Jalen Hurts highlights. I mean, he was electric. He put his foot in the dirt and just made dudes miss almost every single game. I mean, I remember that one, I think it might not have been 22. This might have been 21, but they were playing the New Orleans Saints late. I think they were in the all black uniforms. And Hurts puts his right foot in the ground, and the defender literally falls down, and Hurts cuts to the left and runs the ball into the end zone around the outside. I mean, it was such a good run. It looked like it was an elite running back. And that's changed. He doesn't run like that anymore. He doesn't seem to have the desire to run like that anymore. I don't know if it's all ability. But like I never saw, and I'd have to go and look at this. I can't remember one time in 22 and 23 where Jalen Hurts slid behind the line of scrimmage. I don't remember one. Last year, and he did that a crap load, which is all right. I mean, he doesn't want to get hurt, and I'm not going to say just dive head first into them. I get that, but it does show you that some of that athletic ability that really allowed him to rise up to stardom in 22 and 23 hasn't been as prevalent in his game the last couple of years.
Do you think he lived up to what Boomer Esiason said about learning how to play with that contract?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. What are you asking? If you think I think he's done
Do you
it?
think that since he signed that contract, he's been the same player prior to that?
No, I don't think he's been the same player. I mean, every player changes. That's just kind of how it goes. But no, I don't think he's elevated.
I don't think Mahomes is any different. I don't think
Yeah,
Mahomes
he's
is any
evolved.
different
I
at all.
mean, Mahomes had to evolve. No, because you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying like every player naturally is a different version of themselves each year. Like Mahomes, when they got rid of Tyreek Hill, I mean, remember there was a learning curve there where he's like, "Holy shit, I got to spread the ball around to guys that I really am not used to throwing it to." I went from Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, to Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown. So I think there's just a different version of him now, and yeah, I don't think his best years came after that contract was signed. I think that's fair to say.
I've never seen a coach and a player with that kind of success shit on more than any other guy in the NFL history.
Well, dude, you know what's funny?
I
don't agree with Prince much about Nick Sirianni, but Prince was saying this, and I saw this comment, and I thought it was interesting. He said, Nick Sirianni is like the Jalen Hurts of coaches. And they both have all this insane success that is hard to quantify. And none of them really get the level of respect that you would think. Like if I told you came down from Mars and I told you, here's a quarterback, here's his resume, this is the success he has, you'd be like, holy shit, that's the best quarterback in the world. Meanwhile, we got him at 17 on this list. Nick Sirianni was at 18 on the list. Rivaling Vince Lombardi in terms of the first 5 years. So come on.
They've got Nick Sirianni number 2 on the hot seat on Fox.
I'm starting to think that neither Nick or Jalen Hurts are on the hot seat.
Oh, dude, I agree with John. They win 10 games. Someone's going. Zander, you win 10 games. Someone's going.
Yeah, probably. That's crazy to say. I mean, double-digit wins. But, I think what's more likely to happen next year would be they would just guarantee Hurts his whole contract for that year.
Do you know why I say that? It's because you have a tendency to overreact.
Well, that's the owner.
That's right. You have a tendency
Can you live with that? Can you live with that because of how much success they're having?
Yeah.
It's not like it's like, oh, he overreacts and then they don't do well.
As a fan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he overreacts and then they fix it.
Yeah.
So it's worked out well for him.
Personally, stop falling in love with the name on the back of the jersey. Nobody gives a shit. If you're an Eagle fan, how I would be an Eagle fan, don't fall in love with the name on the back of the jersey, dude. Fall in love with what they're doing because the names are like chess pieces. They're like pawns, bro. That's how they move them around. I don't think.
I don't know, dude. I never heard Jeffrey talk about a player like he talks about Hurts. I don't know if it might be an act. It might be all bullshit. I don't know. I'm just saying. I personally have never heard Jeffrey talk about a player like that.
Bro, if I stroked a check for $50 million, I'm gonna talk about that guy whether he stinks or not.
I guess.
I mean, boy, I'll tell you, I've never seen anything like it. I did start laughing when you posted that coaches list. I started laughing, going, "Holy cow!" It wasn't the names like Jesse Minter that were ahead of him. It was the notion of having him down there.
Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
Now, for me, guess what? Okay, really, 18th. I don't even believe that.
These idiots put Jesse Minter on here,
bro.
At 15. Jesse Minter has never fucking been a head coach at college or pros. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, that's even me. I went like this. I started laughing.
I'm just like, dude, look, some of it is Philly. They love play. Look, we're Philly. We're passionate people, man. They like to play. They like to prey on us. So it is what it is.
But I'll put him 12.
I'm putting him higher than that.
I think his greatest asset was figuring out the quarterback had a lot of deficiencies in throwing the ball. That's his best strength. His best strength is finding out. I'll tell you what I think he does well. This kid does this well. This kid does this well. This kid does this bad. This kid does that bad. This kid does this good. This kid does that good. And I think there's a talent to that. I think there is. That's a come to Jesus conversation. And get this, and he sticks to that. That risk averse is this. He can do this. He can't do that. He could do this.
Is there anything that could happen this year that would make you change your opinion in a favorable manner for Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, if they get to the NFC title game with a complete overhaul change of their passing game.
Well, see, Sills, I'm going to call bullshit. If that happens, you're going to be giving Sean Mannion so much praise, you'll be blue in the face.
No, because according to John, Nick hired him. Nick hired him. Here's the thing.
I got Nick probably 5.
Here's why I have a problem with what John said. So wait a minute. So he hires the assistants. You would allow a guy to hire another no-name guy when 3 of them have been failures in 4 years? Come on, man. You hire 3 assistant coaches, offensive coordinator wise. One, you can have a different opinion on 23.
Was Shane a first-year coordinator, or was he a coordinator somewhere before he came here?
I thought he was a coordinator in Indy.
Was he? I thought Nick was the coordinator in Indy.
Yeah,
that's where Nick came from.
I thought, could he be a coordinator in Los Angeles?
He might have been. He was with LA. You're right.
He may have been.
He was offensive coordinator in 2020 with the Chargers.
Yeah.
That's what I thought
call. He was. Well, I think it was.
He also, it says he's got, he was the OC in 2020.
Yeah. That was with Rivers. And then when Frank got over there, he followed Frank over after Frank left and went to Philly. He got the job with the Chargers after Frank left and came to Philadelphia.
Was that when Anthony Lynn was the head coach?
Yeah. That's right. It was Anthony Lynn, Brandon Staley, then I went to Jim Harbaugh.
That's right.
That's what the Spanos did. So he had some play calling. But again, I don't know where the fuck Shane got that RPO stuff from, because he didn't RPO ever.
It's just good coaching, though.
It's just good coaching. It is.
Take a player who's got elite athletic ability and figure out how to use it to hurt defenses.
But what's crazy is that he drafted with Chris Ballard, Anthony Richardson, and then that didn't work. So he went and got a talent kind of like Anthony Richardson or Hurts and Daniel Jones, and he stuck with that mentality and he stuck with that skill set. Like, he didn't go to the Rivers skill set. You could have brought Kirk Cousins in. He didn't want any of that. He wanted a guy that was mobile.
Well, then the question is, like, it's so obvious. Then why aren't they doing it now?
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why aren't they building around? Like, Prince says, hello, thank you. All right, Prince. Well, why aren't they doing it now?
Because I think the quarterback doesn't want to do it.
That's kind of my point. Like, do you really think, and maybe Prince, maybe you think this, like, do we really think that the coaches are uninterested in trying that or doing that?
If Nick is this smart as you say, so Nick woke up
as I said, what am I, the spokesperson for Nick Sirianni?
Hey, well, wait, I'll ask. Oh, will you believe that he's 5th? So I'll ask you then, if Nick is this smart.
Wait. You have an opinion. I have an opinion.
Okay.
Everybody in the chat has an opinion. You know what? What's not an opinion? Fucking the success of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, for that matter. Opinions mean nothing when lined up with the truth.
My question would be, once again, this. So you think Nick woke up one morning and went, shit, we're just going to stop running the guy? I think the guy walked into the office and said, hey, I want a different style play. I don't want to have that style of play anymore. I don't want to run as much. Or I wonder if Nicole Lynn and the agents had question marks like, you're running our player too much and you're getting him banged up. Didn't he have concussions 22 and 23?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think an agent's responsible?
Concussion and he left the Commander game, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, look at what Drew Rosenhaus did. Rosenhaus kept him out of the, what's his name? Kept Jalen Carter out. Why wouldn't Nicole Lynn have a conversation with the organization. My guy's getting beat up 2 years in a row. He's in concussion protocol. I mean, surely did concussions play a factor in Wentz's exit?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Or his demise. Or his demise.
His demise, but maybe the concussions were a part of the demise.
Okay. Right.
I was there. I was at the game where Jadeveon Clowney drove his head into the ground.
Okay. You think it was a late hit?
I mean, yeah, it was at the time, but I mean, I was in the playoffs, a playoff game. I was sitting, I was broke, and all I wanted to do was go to the playoff game. I was sitting all the way up top. My brother and I, we were sitting all the way in the nosebleeds at the top of the link. And I remember being like, oh shit, it's Wentz down there. Oh my God. And then who came in? Josh McCown?
Think so. So. I watched that game.
Yeah, Well, I think they lost that game like 16-9 or something.
Supposedly behind the scenes, Howie wanted Wentz to go back in, and he didn't want to go back in. Yeah. And that started the whole exit stuff with
I think it did.
Getting his ass out of there.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't know how confirmed that. I'd have to ask John about that. That's a good one.
All right, got one here for you. Do you think it's going to be harder for Devontae Smith to transition into being a number one wideout, or Mekhi Lemon transitioning into be the number two target in Philadelphia? What do you think will be a tougher transition?
I think Mekhi. I mean, he's a rookie player. I think Devontae has at least been in the NFL. He understands the game speed. He understands the talent of cornerbacks out there. He understands, I think, what it takes. I mean, he's been up close and personal with it, obviously. And, you know, it never felt like they treated him as a 2. He was a 2. But I'm saying they acted like he was a 1A, 1B, and maybe that prepared him more for being the number one overall wide receiver. And now you have a rookie coming in who's, never played in the NFL. I think that's a bigger hurdle than Smitty trying to take more, take over the number one. I think they're both big, but to me, it's Lemon.
Well, Devontae's got to do this. He's now got to take on the number one corner. He's also going to take on doubles now.
Yeah.
Think he's built for doubles?
You know what makes me concerned about that? No, I don't think he's built for doubles. But you know what makes me concerned about that? Let me look this up. A.J. Brown, double team rate. A.J. Brown. Is there somebody who tracks that? Double team, like what rate somebody's double teamed in a game?
I don't know if there's a metric for that. How many times was AJ Brown double teamed?
In 2025, AJ Brown had one of the highest double team rates among NFL wide receivers, recorded at 48.8, placing him second in the league.
Half of his throws he was doubled, and he still made fucking plays.
48%, dude.
That is insane high.
The only person higher is Justin Jefferson at 53.
And Jefferson had Addison on the other side. Dude, that guy, that is incredible. He is going to be.
So I'm just saying that's
massively.
A fuck ton of double teams, dude. That's 30 to 35 plays a game.
See what Devontae's was. Because that will be a massive.
I don't think they doubled Devontae ever.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no data on it.
So this is why I asked you the question. So Devontae Smith goes from not being doubled at all to being a guy who may be doubled. If he gets 8 catches in a game, 4 of those 8 catches, he's going to take on stiff double teams.
Yeah, and like Curtis brings up a good point. Like even in zone, like they're shifting toward AJ every time. Yeah, that's going to be. Look, Devontae's he's got to have a big year here. I mean, this is not a small jump for him. I think a lot of people are just like, okay, Devontae's the one. We're all good. Devontae's got to take a step forward. Like it's time to play like Heisman. So it's time to play like the 10th overall pick. Like it's time to elevate.
I mean, dude. Has to be big, Xander. He just has to be a big year this year, Lemon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear what you said, but
yeah,
I heard you say Lemon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has to be really a big year this year. I mean, wow. How is the Sean Mannion going to handle that? Is that more double tight end set, you think?
Well, I mean, I have a sense of optimism that maybe Sean Mannion will understand that that's coming. And, you try and create, like we've talked about recently a lot on the shows, is just trying to create more space for the guys, trying to get them, move them around, confuse defenses. That's the one thing I do like about the setup of the receiving group is with A.J. Brown, you weren't going to move him anywhere. He was going to line up where he was going to line up. And now I think you do have guys that are more interchangeable, can line up all over the place. And do they do that? I don't know if they'll do that. Will they use motion? I don't know if they're going to use motion, but I'm hoping that they'll keep defenses on their toes and try and do what they can to free Smitty from that, especially in zone coverage. I mean, if you have zone coverage and you're motioning Smitty, I mean, you're going to make it a lot harder to double team him or slant the coverage on his side. Versus when you line up AJ in the same spot every play and he runs the same fucking route every play. All right, it's pretty easy to double him. It's pretty easy to slant the coverage to his side, So I'm hoping that Mannion can add some stuff there that will make it easier on Devontae Smith.
Yeah, because once again, Z, this is why I asked that question. Him taking over that number one role, dude, there's more that goes and there's more entailed than that, man. You're the main focal point in the passing game. You're even again, you're a focal point even in some aspects in the formation of the offense and how it's going to be run. How much do you think they're going to really change this passing attack? And I heard you ask the question about volume. What do you think that volume? It doesn't matter the volume because I can't see them all of a sudden upping it to 580, 600 attempts.
I don't think you want that. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think you want that for any quarterback, honestly. I mean, there's degrees, obviously. You're going to feel better about Stafford doing it than a guy like Hurts, but I think 25 to 30 is perfect. I mean, I think John was on the money with that. I mean, that's where I've been too. It's what I think the right move is. To me, John said efficiency and effectiveness are the same thing to him. And I guess if you look at the dictionary, sure, they would be very similar, but to me, they're not the same thing. You can be an efficient passer, but not be that effective in that you don't make defenses honor it or fear it or change their coverage to address it. You can be efficient. If you're super effective, you're going to force defenses to play you differently. And that's what I think the key is. Efficient. Right. I want effectiveness, and that defenses have to fear it. They have to address it or else they will get burnt. And that's where I think they have to be with those 25 to 30. And if they do that, I think the sky's the limit on what they can do, and I think the running game hopefully comes back. I'm a little concerned about this offensive line with this new scheme. Like Landon Dickerson really doesn't fit this outside zone run scheme that they're talking about implementing. He really doesn't. Now, will they do that to the level we think? Maybe not. Maybe not. Juergens I think fits. I'm fine with the tackles. I think they're all good, but Landon's probably my big concern there, and then just the health, obviously. Saquon. Is Saquon a patient enough runner to be an outside zone type of back? John's been saying this for years, since even before he played with Philly. When they signed him that summer, he said he's not a patient back. He wants to, hit the hole. That's why it worked with Stoutland, with in 24. Get that ball, hit that whole offensive line mate, and go. Go, 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 go. Here you're going to have to let it set up. You're going to have to allow your offensive lineman to pull. You're going to have to wait for the lanes to open up. You're going to have to, spurt up the field. So I think Saquon can do it, but consistently is hard, when you have habits and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I do think that's something to keep an eye on as well here.
Do you think that Devontae Smith has played like the 10th player taken in the draft?
You've asked me this before. I don't think he has, but mostly because of the situation. I mean, they're not a high volume. The wide receiver 1 is not happy. So the wide receiver 2 by default is probably not going to be happy for, what you're expecting out of a 10th overall pick. So I don't think he's overachieved at all, but I think it's more dictated to him by the offense that's around him than really the player has been. I think he's been a pretty damn good player. I mean, he's made some insane catches. He's been solid in the big moments. Obviously had the huge catch in the Super Bowl I mean, he's done what I want him to do in terms of contributing to the Eagles. From a volume standpoint, it's been a little lower than you would think, but I think that's more to do with the team than it is the player.
So, okay. That's why, again, we asked the question about Devontae this year. So look at the guys that we're talking about having big years. Devontae Smith. Does Barkley come back to form? Does Jalen Hurts pick up the new offense? And how do the other pieces fit in? These new pieces that you brought in, how do they fit in?
I don't know, dude. I mean, how much are you expecting them to throw the ball to wide receiver 3 and 4? Like, what percentage of uptick are you expecting in terms of volume?
I've pointed out to you a bunch of times that in the last couple years, since you've been in the Nick Sirianni era, you averaged 29 receptions out of the 3-hole. 29 receptions
That's
total.
low, dude. That's less than
all your receivers out of the 3-hole. What's going to change in that whole thing there where all of a sudden the slot's going to become or that third wideout is going to become an effective player? What makes
this is what I was saying to you the other day. This is what I was saying to you. Yeah, I think it was yesterday where I'm like, are you expecting them to draw plays up for wide receiver 3 and 4?
Well, you signed a bunch of guys for it. What are you going to do? Sit them on the bench?
I'm not saying you're going to sit them on the bench. They're going to be decoys like Dotson was. Where did Dotson go? Where did Jahan Dotson sign? Atlanta? I think he signed with Atlanta. Yeah, he signed with Atlanta. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Michael Penix, so I don't know if he's going to have a huge uptick over there. But I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like, if they're not scheming plays specifically for those players, then how are you expecting they get the ball?
I don't know. Let me ask you this one. On the defensive side of the football, by the way, Howard Eskin will join us at the bottom of the hour. Any changes schematically that you think, because Vic is like, and Dave Wanstead told me this 2 days ago, Vic's not going to have the same look this coming season. It's not going to be the same defense. His defense also evolves.
Yeah.
You think they're going to bring more pressure this coming season with maybe Cooper DeJean to create more pressure on the quarterback because he's more skilled as a player? Do you think they're going to play in the same scenario and how they played with 2-eye safety? Do you think there'll be any changes with Grenard being there? Anything that would change how they're going to approach this coming season?
I don't think from a blitz standpoint.
Like, would you move Carter around more?
Maybe that. I don't think blitzing is going to be the answer. Because think about it. Like, when do you really want to blitz? Probably one, if you struggle to get home with your front 4 or front 5, or 2, if you have shoddy corners and the only way to really beat them is to speed up the quarterback. They got great secondary and they have good defensive line. So I don't know that I see them blitzing a lot more. And the other thing is, like, who was the best blitzer on the Eagles last year? He's gone. It was Nakobe Dean. And Jahad Campbell did not show that he could do that. I mean, one of the easiest things to notice about the Eagles defense when Nakobe Dean returned last year was his blitzing ability. I mean, when Vic Fangio sent Nakobe Dean, he was like shot out of a cannon to the backfield. Jahad Campbell, as athletic as he is, did not have that. So now maybe he can get that because he's super athletic, but that's probably the concern there. I don't think it's blitzing. No, I mean, maybe you're right where,
and like
maybe
you said,
maybe there's more variance on the D line or something like that. I could see that.
Because listen, if you're going to pay those 2 tackles that kind of money, don't you think you need to utilize them a little bit more than what just lining them up in a 3 technique and a 1 technique? I mean, you paying a guy $26 million. You got to get more out of Jordan Davis than just 2 tackles.
I agree with that. I don't know what that means in terms of how they use them, but I agree. I certainly agree with that.
I mean, so again, and I do think you're better at your cornerback positions. I do think that. I just think, again, Zander, that you're a little light in the depth when it comes to, when it comes to your defense. All right, let's read some of these supers. Guys, I appreciate you. Howard Eskin's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. By the way, I'm sorry about the weather and all that, man. I appreciate you guys being here with
Your
us.
internet's kicking a little bit. Here's Mikey. He says, something tells me that Stowers is the bigger impact this year over Lemon. I feel like he's more of an AJ replacement than Lemon. Maybe.
I think it's going to come down to how they're going to run 12. You think they run 12 personnel this year?
I mean, they ran it last year.
You think they run more of it?
Maybe. But, I mean, when you run 12 personnel, don't you want a blocker on the field?
Yeah. Well, I think they're going more towards finesse.
Yeah. They better, because I don't think Eli Stowers is the guy to put out there to, chip block.
No.
I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, but I don't want that hammerhead out there the majority of the snaps. That one guy was just a blocker on your tight
that's
end.
true.
I want to have playmakers out there, no?
Dude, Johnny Munt?
Yeah, Johnny Mutt. I don't want that guy.
You don't like Johnny Mutt.
If I see Johnny Mutts on the field, I know they're in trouble. Johnny Mutts.
What do you call
Johnny
him?
Mutts? Johnny
Come
Mutts.
on. So
I want a fucking playmaker on the field. I don't want Johnny Muttbag.
Right.
Johnny Muttbag.
All right. Yale says he can chip block. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. Gives a shit.
Here's Kilgore. I've called for Hurts to be benched since week 6. For 2026, I'm letting my fandom loose behind my boy Sean Supermanian. Hurts to Smitty, 15 tutties. Book it. Oh, my God.
15 tutties.
Wait, what a great nickname. Sean Supermanian, baby.
Superman.
Sean Supermanian. That is banging.
Supermanian. Oh, my God. I can't wait for this year. By the way, we got Howard said that it's a done deal that Daryl Morey is going to be fired.
Oh, good. I don't know what they're waiting for. Although Daryl, hey, listen, he's had some good draft picks. I got to give him that.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
He has. Hey, how come the Cowboys?
You cut out. This motherfucker.
Hey, I got it, man.
You
I don't
cut
know.
off. What did you say? How about the Cowboys? What?
How come the Cowboys are going to have more national games than the Eagles this year? Like more like primetime games.
Dude, you did not just ask me that.
Yeah. They're not relevant. How come the Cowboys have more national games?
Everybody, come on, man. I was listening to actually, the company that I love right now that I've been watching all their content is Factory 5. I told you I want to build this Cobra. And they're based in, you might know, it's like an hour south of Boston. What's that? Where is it called? Let me look it up real quick.
Is it in Mass or Connecticut?
Mass. They are in Wareham, 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 Connecticut, Wareham, Massachusetts.
That's on the way. That's on the way to Foxborough.
So I was listening to them. They make like kit cars where you like build them. But one of their hot rods, somebody made into a Factory 5 Dallas Cowboys car. And even the owner of Factory 5, Dave Smith, who's pretty dope. He's really dope, actually. He said one of his favorite cars that a customer has ever built is the Cowboy one. And he's not a Cowboy fan. He just said, the one thing about the Dallas Cowboys is you either love them or you hate them, and you have to tell them that you hate them. So he said one of the most like cars that gets the most play of a Factory 5 is the Dallas Cowboy hot rod that somebody built. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen real quick for you guys.
The Dallas Cowboy hot. What kind of car is it?
There you go. It's the Cowboy hot rod with the Cowboy star on there.
Look at that thing.
He said that's one of the cars that gets the most publicity because whether you love them or you hate them, you watch them, or you got to weigh in. One thing you can't deny. Eagle fans hate when I give the Cowboys any credit. I'm done with you. All you buttercups got to stop being buttercups. The Cowboys get a lot of play, dude. They just do. Yeah. People want to watch the Cowboys. I was telling the story last year. My sisters and my mom, they are not sports people. Like, they don't give one shit. They don't care. Like, if I watch a sports game, they're like, please turn off the sports. I can't listen to the commentators anymore. That's how they are. They do not like sports. I walked out one night my mom and my two sisters are sitting there, and on the screen is Jerry Jones. And I'm like, what are you watching? And they're like, oh, it's the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show. It's like it's like an awesome show. We love it. I'm like, you're watching what? There's a show on Netflix about the Cowboys cheerleaders.
What?
Yes.
Dude, he did such a great job with that brand. When he bought that team, Zander, when he went in there and bought that team, bro, Jerry Jones spent every cent he had. Like, Jimmy told me, dude, he was making money off of what the Cowboys, it was like $100,000 a month. But he had all this money. He bought the team for $154 million.
Did you ever hear him tell the story?
Yes, no.
About how he got the money?
Oh, well, yeah, I think he said that he sold all the equipment.
No, yeah, he made his largest investment ever in like an oil well.
Yes.
And for anybody who knows how that works, they're big gambles. Like there's no guarantee that there's any oil under there. And he said when we put the oil rig in and we opened that sucker up, I knew immediately, and in a very Jerry fashion. It was a hilarious wording. I knew that oil was singing for the mountains or something. He said, and then he was like, yeah, and I used that money to buy the Dallas Cowboys.
There was also a story that he was going to buy the Chargers, and I had Stephen Jones on, and Stephen goes like this, and I asked him. Jerry had $14 million. He was going to buy it from Gene Klein. His dad came in and went just like this. Don't buy the Chargers. Don't buy the Chargers. He goes, and my dad talked me out of it. It was the best thing that ever happened.
Oh.
Me not buying the Chargers because I waited then. And Trump even said it back in the day. Trump goes like this. It's the worst investment you ever make because he bought it from Bum Bright. I remember, Zander, I was in the building the day before the whole transaction went down, that it went, and it was like this. He woke up the next day. Hey, did you hear what happened? Bum sold the team to Jerry Jones. And I said, no wonder Jimmy Johnson's in town, because Jimmy wanted to go to a Mexican restaurant and have lunch. I called him up. I said, he goes, don't worry, I'll see you in a couple hours. I was like, what do you mean? Sure enough, Coach Landry walked in the room and said he'd just been fired. You couldn't hear a pin fucking drop.
That's amazing.
I'm sitting in this room. Look, I got Randy White, Too Tall Jones, guys that have won Super Bowls with this guy.
And that's why your wife hates Jimmy, or not hates, but that's why she didn't like him, right? Yeah.
Hates Jimmy. Can't stand him because she's a Landry guy. Dude, I'm sitting in the building and I'm going like, oh my God. I remember looking over at Crawford Kerr and going, and Herschel was in there, and we're all sitting there going, I'm like, oh my God. They fired Tom Landry. Coach Landry starts bawling. He just starts bawling. He's been there 30 years, the only coach the team's ever had. I went like this, holy fuck. I couldn't believe we're all like, you couldn't hear a pin drop. And I looked over at everyone sitting next to me. I went, you'll never forget this day as long as you live. Tom Landry getting fired.
Yeah, well.
He was like the third all-time winningest coach in the time when he got blown out.
You know what's weird, dude? What's up with speaking of teams selling, what's up with the Seahawks?
Hey, dude, I heard Bezos may buy that team.
I could see that. I've read somewhere that there's not a lot of interest or something.
No, Zuckerberg also may buy it.
Well, yeah, I guess the tech giants tech is going to take over
Seattle, Seattle Tech, they got a big area up there with tech and all that. So, that's what do you make? Hey, so what are you looking for the schedule on Thursday? You know what I am? I don't want to see that bye week early for an older team.
I don't want to see a game on Christmas. How about that?
Oh, no, that's selfish.
Yeah, it is.
I heard John moaning.
There's one day a year. One day a year I don't want to work. I'll work every day of my life. I don't care. One day a year I don't want to work. I want to kick my feet up and hang out with my fucking family. It's Christmas.
We work on fucking in media. I heard all these media guys who moan about working on holidays.
Oh, you moan about it too.
I never moan about it.
You moan.
When do I ever take days off?
Just make sure you load up on throat coat, will you?
No. Not throat coat. It's this one here. Here, see, look at this here. Watch this now.
Look, You start them at throat coat, You end him up, he's dunking honey in his mouth, man. So
Man,
people are saying it's a week 14 bye.
Week 14 bye? That's a little long in the tooth there for me.
Me too.
I wish that we get around week 11.
And we got that one. Here's David Sills. What sports franchise is the only team that drafted 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the same draft?
Wow. What a great. Let's see.
Why is sports in parentheses? Is this like an off-the-cuff team?
What sports franchise? Oh, wait a minute. What sports franchise is the only team to draft 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the same draft? Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Can't be the Cowboys.
I have no clue.
The Cowboys got Staubach. And I don't believe Don Meredith is in the Hall of Fame. And I don't believe Craig Morton just passed away. I don't think he's in. Kansas City? No. I don't know who that is.
David, who is it, dude? What is this? Trivia? David, if you want to trivia me, you're gonna have to spend me a little more than that.
I don't.
That's my new thing with these people. David says KC Royals drafted Elway and Marino in 79.
That's right. Baseball. Dan Marino and David, Elway was going to play with the Yankees. He was going to play with the Yankees. He was going to sign a scholarship, or he's going to sign a deal with the.
Here, one more.
Okay.
Des the Hebrew says, to be fair, it is hard to have success when running the ball, put you behind the sticks on first and second down. Jalen's legs could have helped. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they led the league last year in negative run plays. I think it was like 42 or 41 runs. Saquon Barkley was tackled behind the line of scrimmage on first down.
Yeah, and they were also the second worst team on third down last year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Too many 3 and outs there, man.
All right, brother. Good show, man.
All right, big brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, dude. I'll see you in the morning.
Later.
Absolutely great show there, Bird 365. Guys, I really appreciate you hanging in there, too. We got a little bit of an internet issue here, so we're going to get to Howard Eskin here in a second. But, boy, Howard, man, I'll tell you what. When you get people like him, Angelo, Mike North, or whomever, when we talk sports, folks, I'll tell you what, these guys, man, they make news every single time they open their mouth. And Howard Eskin made a couple bits of news a couple days ago when he said that Daryl Morey is gone. And it's pretty much all but done that he's done. And I've said this from day one about Daryl Morey. I mean, what did he do in Houston? I mean, what did he actually do there? And look, I don't mind some of the draft picks he has here, but the 76ers are a train wreck. And then you have Embiid. Holy cow, what a loser mentality. So you finish up getting swept by the Knicks, and what you say is you had a successful season because you didn't get hurt? You imagine Jalen Hurts after the 49er game going like this, hey, we had a successful season because I didn't get hurt. Then he totes his kid up there like you weren't going to ask him tough questions about his stiff performance in the playoffs. I don't know what you do there, but we love talking sports. And absolutely, you got to make sure you check out his great show because he has a great one. And he joins us now here. Our friend Howard Eskin, he joins us now here on the program. Howard, man, I'm going to start you there. How you doing, brother? I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, I've never had a bad day in my life, but there's some bad moments mixed in, but never bad days.
Absolutely here. Howard, it's a done deal that Daryl Morey's out?
Well, multiple sources told me it's not done until they do it. See, that organization dislikes me so much. Now they're trying to find a way, I'm sure, but they got to do what they got to do to find a way to discredit me. I'm sure that's their game plan now. It's not doing what's best for the team. That's the way that team operates. It's always there's always kind of a little bit of a side issue because of the people they have there. However, when multiple people told me he's done, now they put out something, we're evaluating. Well, wait a minute. Why don't you just say you haven't evaluated at this point? If they beat the Knicks, then they would have to evaluate, but they knew what they were going to do. So you don't know at this point. Just come out and say, hey, listen, Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse are back next year. But the caveat in this whole thing, the real thing that makes it difficult for Morey to come back, I don't know about Nick Nurse, because I haven't been told anything about Nick Nurse. I'm not sure. One person told me something, but I'm not sure of that. Is Bob Myers is running all of Josh Harris's teams. He oversees them. Bob Myers is a brilliant guy.
Love him.
Who did wonders. I mean, how many championships did Golden State win with Bob Myers?
Five they won there with him.
Yeah, as a general manager. So a really, really, really sharp guy. Daryl Morey can con Josh Harris, who doesn't know the first thing about sports, but there's just no way he can con Bob Myers. Bob Myers is a brilliant guy.
Yes.
So that's where it all falls apart for Daryl Morey. Maybe they're just trying to work out a settlement. I don't know what they're doing, but there's no way you can move forward. And you just said something, and I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it. Somebody wrote a response about his draft picks being good. That's bullshit. So when you look at his draft picks, tell me why you think his draft picks were good. Because I think you said
this recent kid looks like he's going to be a good player with them.
Okay, that's one player. Tell me who else.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Okay, because Maxey, and he said it publicly. Tyrese Maxey was selected in the draft less than 10 days after Daryl Morey was hired by the 76ers. He admitted publicly, he says, I haven't been here long enough. Elton Brand is the one that made this pick. So Tyrese Maxey is not Morey. So hey, listen, a dope could select VJ Edgecomb with the number 3 pick. That really is not when you have the number 3 pick, it's pretty hard to screw that up. Sixers have done that, but it's pretty hard to screw that up because he's so athletic. But again, he's a rookie. He's a nice player. Was he the 3rd best player? We'll find out. We'll find out in time whether he was the best player to be selected there. But whatever, he's a nice player. But outside of that, tell me what he's done.
Okay.
Tell me what he's done. Tell me what he's done with trades. Tell me what he's done with signings. He's done nothing.
No, the Paul George thing looks like,
it's a joke.
It's a joke. I mean, it was a cash cow contract, and it never really panned out. That was a horrible move.
I think he did that because Embiid wanted another fall guy. So he wanted, and Paul George. So not only did they give Embiid what turns in, and I didn't realize this until the other day, to a 5-year extension. The last year is a player option. Now think about that. He already had 1 or 2 years on his contract. They gave him an extension, and the last year is a player option. They owe him, and obviously he's going to pick that up, $190 million they're going to owe him over the next 3 years. Now, why would you do that? When they signed him, he was already hurt. And then they signed Paul George, and somebody from the Clippers told me the Clippers would have given him 2 years only because he was there. And they would have done him a favor, giving him 2 years. Why? Nobody else was offering him more than 2 years. Why would they give him 4 years? I mean, that was a mistake. I'm trying to think of one good trade that he made.
No, you're right. You're right. And
what signing has he made that's a good signing?
He's not done. And I love what you said about Bob Myers. I mean, I think you're dead right. But here, Howard, let me go into Embiid here. I want to read you something about Embiid. In his 10 years, he's averaged 49 ball games.
I know, it's a joke. It really is.
49 ball games he's averaged playing. And get this, he's played 60 games, 1, 2, 3, 4 times in 10 years. And in the last 3 years, 38, 19, and 39.
I think, didn't he miss the first 2 years after he was drafted, or miss time? I don't know how many. Did he miss the first 2 years?
Well,
I
the
don't
first
even know.
year he had 31 games.
Oh, okay.
Then the next year he played 63, 64.
Oh, okay. All
The
right.
most he ever played was 68 in 2021, 22. The next year he came back with 66, right at the number for you to win that MVP award, where he won the most valuable player award. Howard, what do you do with Joel Embiid?
You give him a few Shake Shack burgers, some milkshakes, keep him happy that way. He's big on Shake Shack milkshakes and burgers. So you give him those, and you deal with it. Like, for people to think, oh, they got to get rid of him. Who would take him?
Nobody's
Well,
taking
you
him.
give him away and take bad contracts. Well, what good does that do you? You're still stuck. And they don't have their own pick this coming draft. I think they have a pick in the first round later. They don't have their own pick. And then next year they have their own pick. So they got to get set up. That's why it makes no sense for Daryl Morey to be there. And Bob Myers is smart enough to understand that. You got to turn the page.
Yeah, but why not go get somebody like Sam Presti? If you're the Sixers, go get that OKC guy who was with R.C. Buford in San Antonio, Howard. Get a guy that knows and has been building teams, was with a great – I agree with you on Bob. Bob is fantastic. I know him well. He's a great –
I'm sure he's got people in mind. Regardless of who he gets, I trust that Bob Myers, knowing, and I don't know him, but all I do is I know of him. I'm sure Bob Myers will make a good choice because he knows what he's doing. Where Daryl Morey's just a con man and a fraud, and he's done nothing. And the only reason he got James Harden in a trade with Houston is because OKC couldn't sign him because they had no cap room. And Houston was one of the few teams that had cap room. It fell into his lap. Still didn't win a championship. And then he trades for Harden here, and then he gets rid of him. Then he trades for Buddy Hield, and then he said, what is he puts the fear? His comment was, Buddy Hield puts the fear of God into teams when he comes up to the 3-point line. And then they didn't even keep him for more than a year. I mean, and then there was another guy, I don't know if it was Indiana. They traded a first-round pick, and then he was here 3 months and he was gone. He's had such bad trades, signings, draft pick VJ Edgecomb. But like I said, a dope could have picked VJ Edgecomb.
Let me go here with you. You said something at the top here. Why does it seem that every organization in Philadelphia, every time somebody reports something, they got to take a shit on the messenger? It's just, I mean, it. You know, we said something about Hurts a couple of years ago working out with Tom House when he was out in Southern California. Yeah. And they jumped all over. And we're like, I only heard about it because Timo Solani owns a restaurant out in Southern California.
Yep.
And Jalen and Tom House went to dinner there. And Tom called me and said, hey, he's out here working with Brady's guy. That's the only reason I knew that is because Solani told me. We know Timo Solani kind of well. And so I was like, okay. And, everyone's like, oh, no, wait a minute. He's not working out. And then it turned out he was working out there. Why is there such a, here, I want to add this story in. So the Jeremy Fowler story and Jeff McClain and Tim McManus story comes out. Hurts is at a crossroads. And then I turn around and I see a Bob Lang piece come out 2 days ago where Jeremy Fowler's like, hey, Sean Mannion and Jalen Hurts are all on the same page. And
wait a minute. Was Bob
Lang
Lang's name on that? Oh, no. He gave them information. Hey, just say it's an NFL source or just, that's the way that works. They put that out there. I knew that was total BS. How could you be in love with the guy after a couple of months? I mean, it's
You
just it's
you
ridiculous.
haven't even been on the field with him yet,
I
Howard.
know. Well, yeah, it's just it makes no sense. They're just trying to smooth it over and cut out the bumpy road and all that. Hey, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'll give him a chance. Obviously, you have to give him a chance. But who knows? All of a sudden, he's going to change with things that he wasn't comfortable with. I mean, you had really good. I mean, Kellen Moore. I know they went to the Super Bowl, but he wouldn't do a lot of the things that Kellen Moore wanted him to do. So whatever, we'll see if he's gotten better, and we'll see what Sean Mannion can do. But I saw that Jeremy Fowler inside, I'm told, which is total BS. It was total BS. But again, all these guys from ESPN need content, and and
It was
the
a
Eagles know where to.
Howard, you know how this works.
Yeah.
It was a makeup piece for the hit job they did on it when it's a crosswords. Now it was a fluff piece coming. I told everyone, I went like this. I go, be prepared for an ESPN fluff piece after this. This is how this works. Here's a little bit of this, and you're going to get this. Hey, Zander, do me a favor. I want Howard to see this list, and I want to get him to comment on this. There was a list that just came out, and it was ranking the head football coaches in the NFL. And if we can, Zander, can we bring that up? And they've got Nick Sirianni,
Number one,
at number 19.
Really? Who put this list out?
A couple guys that work in the National Football League. Here, let me see if I can bring it up here. Let's see here. Here's the list. So they've got Sirianni ranked 18th, excuse me.
Okay.
Shane Steichen is 17. John Harbaugh, 16. Jesse Minter.
Wait a minute. How could John Harbaugh be 16?
They got Jesse Minter at 15. Schottenheimer, 14. Jesse Minter's a brand new first-time head coach. Liam Cohen at 13. Mike Vrabel at 12. Kevin O'Connell.
Well, I guess Diana Rossini didn't vote on that poll. Oh, gee, he froze as I said that. He got internet issues. Oh, I want to hear his response to that.
He didn't vote on that. She didn't vote on that here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. But why is it that Nick is so looked at?
Okay, who is number one?
Let's see here.
If it's not Andy Reid, it's a bogus poll.
It's Sean McVay, then Andy Reid.
Okay, Sean McVay. I'm okay with Sean McVay. I'm okay with Sean McVay.
Yeah, I got this on my Twitter page. If we can get it up, Xander, for Howard to see, that'd be cool. But why is it so? Why is Nick so disrespected? If he's so good at his job, why is he so nationally disrespected?
People take that emotion on the sidelines as the quality of, and they translate it into the quality of his coaching. I don't have a problem with what he does on the sidelines. I mean, he's toned it down a little bit and here's why I don't have a problem. I think he gets maybe at times a little too excited, and I understand that, but he gets, and I've seen it, I've been there, and I'm standing there looking at it. He gets right back into what he has to do as a head coach after he gets really emotional. He's back into the mode of making sure he makes good decisions on the sidelines and doing his job. So I don't have as big a problem as a lot of people apparently do, and that's where they give him a negative, grade or whatever you want to call it.
Well, what's his job?
He's got to make sure he's always looking at formations. He's looking, just in case he has to call a timeout, whether it's a formation that the other team uses, or most of the time he'll look at the formation of the defense against the offensive play that he's called. And if he sees something he doesn't like, he's all over it quickly. So
you think he's going to be still overseeing and over the shoulder of Sean Mannion this year?
Well, I think he always has to look at those things, but when it comes down to a difficult decision, he's got the final decision. On that last play for Jalen Hurts of last season, that was Jalen Hurts' call. And both coaches, Kevin Petullo, who I know you and your boy Angelo doesn't like, and Nick Sirianni, they catered to what he was comfortable with. To say, oh, Kevin Petullo made that call. Well, Nick Sirianni on a play that important, that's a big play.
And
The head coach,
your season if it fails.
right? The head coach has the final say, and he was okay with it. Obviously, he was okay with it. But that call was made by Jalen Hurts because he was more comfortable with that play call. That's
Do
what
you
it comes
give
down
him
to.
more credit, Nick Sirianni? This is where I think his strength is. He works around the quarterback's deficiencies as a passer, and for him to be able to get the amount of wins, that's been his biggest strength. It's been this. He knows the guy can't throw the ball. And so they're going to work around that, and that's been the biggest strength with him. Do you
Well,
agree?
I think what a coach has to do is not try to put a square peg in a round hole. And if there's plays, if there are plays that Jalen Hurts is not comfortable with, they're not going to force him to do it. Where I like Chip Kelly, but he tried to put a square peg in a round hole too many times, and it was what he wanted to do and not necessarily what his offensive players were comfortable with. Where in the case of Nick Sirianni and obviously he's the boss, and Kevin Petullo, that's why they went into a game with half the number of offensive plays in the playbook than most teams go into a game with. Because if he's not comfortable with a play, they're not going to force him to run it because they think, well, this play would work. Well, they feel, and probably they have good reason. If a quarterback's not comfortable with it and has second thoughts, why are you going to run that play? And then the quarterback will say, well, that wasn't the play that we should have run and I was comfortable with. So that's what he does. And I would say most head coaches, if they're good head coaches, want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. I had a golfer tell me one time, I caddied on the PGA Tour, one event, but I caddied on a tour event here just outside Philadelphia years ago, Billy Mayfair. And the thing he told me, by the way, he's the only guy that beat Tiger in a playoff. The only golfer.
That's right.
Yeah, he's the only guy that beat Tiger in a playoff. But whatever. So I caddied for him here, and he said the one thing that a player asked the caddy for advice, but if he's not on the same page and doesn't have confidence in what the caddy says, then it's no good because then he has doubts as he's standing over the ball. And that's the same thing with a football player. I remember there's two things that he asked me to help him with: club selection, and I can't believe I changed his club selection, or I suggested it changing. And I gave him all the facts of what the weather was like, what the distance was, all those things. He looked at that. He says, okay, I changed him from an 8-iron to a 7. I said, just back off on the 7 a little bit, and I think you'll be fine. And I just said it with confidence, looking at, because I charted his practice rounds. And he said, okay. But he thought about it, and he was comfortable with it. There was a putt, and he asked me to read a putt for him. Or not read it, but give him. And all I said was, the main caddy at this club told me this hole looks like it breaks right, but it breaks left. I said, it's your call. I said, but please make it, because these people here are going to rip me if you don't make this putt. So I got him to lighten up. Okay. But he had to be on the same page. That's the thing with a quarterback. If they're not on the same page, there's not no chance, but there's less chance that he's going to succeed with that play.
Howard, do you believe 2027 will be Jalen Hurts' final season as a starting quarterback in Philly?
This is 26, right?
Well, at the end of the year, 27, moving into 27, by March of 27, when the new year starts, will Jalen Hurts go into the 27 season as a starting quarterback?
50-50.
Why?
but he's got to show him that he's better than he's been. At doing the things. Remember, this offensive line isn't as good. They're still a good team. The Eagles are still a good team. The offensive line isn't as good. They've got two guys that have had injuries. Lane Johnson's a year older, and he's had injuries. Jordan Mailata's got to have a better year than he had last year, and he had a great year the year before. Great year. And he's a real good guy and a hard worker and all that. But the offensive line really is not as good as it had been in previous years. So that changes. Saquon Barkley has a lot of plays under his belt, and running backs, and he's in great shape, and I get it. But but you got to think about that a little bit.
I think he's low on fuel, if that makes sense to you.
It does. But, I'm not sure yet until, we see him. They're going to have good wide receivers, whether Diane Rossini's trade works out or not with A.J. Brown. But what are you shaking your head for?
I wish her happy Mother's Day on TV this past week, and I just wanted
How about that stage picture of her and her husband kissing outside? What's the matter? You can't kiss them inside. And just conveniently, there's a camera there to shoot the picture. Boy, isn't that interesting?
With the kid there, too. I was like,
I
was like,
which
something
one,
I was thinking at it like Joel and
Was it the oldest kid?
No, it was the
youngest kid. So for sure it was his kid.
Yeah. I think I don't know. What do you make of that story? What do you make of that whole thing and how it's unraveling? You think Vrabel should be fired? Do you think he loses his job?
No, he won't be fired because the Patriots, and hey, listen, I don't care about personal things, but that affected a lot of other things. There was tampering that obviously happened that the NFL kind of turns their head the other way and doesn't investigate. That's an issue. But Super Bowl losers don't have really good years the next year. If they lose 2 in a row, which is a possibility with a much, much tougher schedule, they lose 2 in a row, people are going to question, has this whole thing been a distraction? Do the players not respect you as much anymore? And, who knows what's going to happen? And then with A.J. Brown, does he want to go there if the guy's only going to be there a year? Whatever the case may be, Vrabel, it's a personal thing, but he's violated rules. And the Patriots are used to cheating. Belichick, Brady, they've all cheated. They both cheated. And they just, it was the cover up. And, the owner knew that was going on. It couldn't have been oblivious to all
the owner's
things.
not like, not without dents.
He's a nice person, but he didn't break any rules of the NFL other than ignore the broken rules of his coach and his quarterback. But no, so it's really hard to say. I don't put as much onus on Vrabel as I do on Diana Rossini, who is a conflict of interest with her job. It's just she gave him information that he couldn't get, obviously. She wasn't truthful with other players. She was involved in the official awards of the NFL, the AP awards, and voting for that. So, a
lot of money involved in that. A lot of money involved in that.
Yeah, I know. Total conflict of interest. And, listen, if they want to have an affair, but she can't do it with the job that she had.
Here's something to think about with
people have affairs, and it happens with players, it happens with coaches, but with her job, her insider, now you wonder how she got a lot of the information, because he's not the only guy. Remember the Washington Redskins general manager? There was questions about that when she was covering the Redskins.
Yeah, but how do you look at Jay Glazer then having those booze parties for general managers, getting them all liquored up and having strippers over at his house, and he's having all these parties, and even a couple guys in Boston, like Dan Shaughnessy, even pointed that out by saying, hey, wait a minute. So this guy's having these parties here. He's getting all these NFL executives all liquored up at his house. They got chicks over at there. This is how he builds a relationship too? I mean, Howard, what's the fine line then?
Were the strippers nice? How much did he have to pay for? Did he pay for the good ones or the mid-level ones?
I wasn't there. I don't know. All I know is that, what's too far to get information? Don't you think that's a little bit of violating a trust?
Yeah, it's on the edge. but it's not doing what she did. It's
No.
on the edge. It's on the edge. But what she did, she violated the rules of her job.
Here's something on Vrabel's side, though. If you stay too long, right? Doesn't it get to a point where you almost become unhireable for your next job
No.
if you keep staying there? And this shit, Howard, you know what this is ending up, right? You know what the final story is in September. That's his kid. That's his kid. It's going to come out that that's his kid.
Well, how are you going to find out what the DNA test is?
I'm just saying, you know what's going to drop here because there's too many. Every 2 weeks there's something new. There's more pictures. There's more this.
Yeah, there's more things that are probably going to drop. That pictures that she doesn't take, stage pictures that are going to drop. More pictures that aren't staged. I don't know. It's just, I think her husband, he's in a tough situation. Difficult situation. It's just, they're his kids. Well, at least maybe one of them is. I don't know about two.
I don't know.
But, it's kind of a shame for him. But you're going to tell me with all the time after this, that's the only picture that was taken of what she stayed in the house for 2 months. Yeah. I mean, they all know where she lives. She lives in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, of course she lives in the Philly area because
he's an Eagles fan.
No, that's WIP's Eagle Insider of the Year.
That doesn't mean because she lives here.
That's just saying she's the Eagle Insider of the Year. Hey, by the way, your old station, how about that apology to Joel Embiid? They were, apologizing after that Game 7 that he had where he took out the Celtics, and all of a sudden now you watch that guy flopping around like he's Cristiano Ronaldo playing soccer.
They apologized to him?
But they were apologizing on the air, like going, "Hey, I'm
for
sorry
what?
for not trusting you being the process."
The process. What it was a Ponzi scheme. It was a scam. It was a total joke. He's not been healthy since the day he walked into the NBA. He's not been healthy.
Nope.
So it was a pick that they had to make. They tried to trade it. I know that for a fact. They tried to get Wiggins. I think that was Minnesota, and Minnesota wouldn't do it because they knew they didn't want that. There was too many questions about his health. So apologize. Why would you apologize? The guy's lazy. He's he just all that nonsense that the woe is me and brings his kid up on the news conference. Steph Curry, I'm okay with. They just won a series when Steph Curry brought his kid or kids up. But Joel Embiid to try to deflect tough questions.
Dude, absolutely brings his kid
not that any of the Philadelphia media is going to ask him a tough question.
Well, here, Howard, what did you make of the Knicks fans overtaking the arena? Isn't that more of an indictment on Josh Harris that the Philadelphia sports fans don't give a crap about that organization? Because you would never see that with Eagle or Philly fans. You would never see that.
Well, here's the issue. They say, "Oh, Sixers fans shouldn't sell their tickets." Number one, the tickets are a lower level for the Knicks series. I think it's between the baselines were $1,400 a piece. Are you kidding me? All right. Yeah. So, and then they couldn't sell them, but season ticket holders, so what? It's just, they don't want to pay to watch a team, especially when they're 0-2. So you can't tell them, have a good team to not sell it. But the Sixers were selling tickets. Now, what they said they did is they wouldn't sell them to a zip code in the New York area. However, I've been told by people in the business, the brokers up there can get brokers in the Philadelphia area to buy the tickets and then sell them to those guys. So the reality is, if you have a good team, they're not going to buy the tickets. Joel Embiid said, "Well, please don't sell your tickets." Hey, how about being a better team? And how about being a better team? That's what it comes down to. Don't sell your tickets. Do whatever you want. Hey, Joe, I'll give back some of the money to help defray the money of the tickets. I mean, give me
absolutely here. Hey, last one here for you. The Phillies. Okay. They offered a job to Alex Cora, obviously.
Yep.
When, he decided to take and said no to it. I mean, Dave Mattingly, You think he's managing himself into keeping that gig? And
Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly, excuse me. You
No.
think Don is managing himself into that where he wants to keep that gig?
I don't think they're going to have the kind of year that he's going to want to come back. That's just my opinion on the year. Hey, if they win the World Series, then he has to come back. They're not winning the World Series. All right, let's lay that out. So he didn't want to manage. He told me when I had him on one of my shows, he didn't want to manage. I think his son, who's technically his title is general manager, probably convinced him to come to be a coach. And obviously, he still didn't want to be the manager because they wanted Alex Cora, knowing that Don Mattingly didn't want to be the manager. They talked about this before. And a week before I put it out there that the perfect time to get rid of Rob Thompson was right before they played a string of horrible teams to make it look good when you change the manager. And that's exactly what they did. The manager doesn't change anything. I mean, the teams they played, San Francisco sucked. Then they played Miami, a below 500 team. Then they played the Athletics. What were they? One game over 500. Then they played one of the three worst teams in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. They had the perfect stretch to make. Oh, look to change a manager. That's all going to change. They are what they are. So I don't think he's going to come back. And the reason that I don't think Alex Cora took the job, if he takes the job and he looks at this team, he said he took a day to think about it. He looked over the team, says, this team's not going to win. If I take this job and they don't win, it hurts me for my next job. Even though you might get a 3-year contract, I'm thinking, he says, why would I do this? It's going to hurt me to get my next job. And if they don't succeed this year, what makes you think they're going to succeed in years after that? And what makes you think that Dave Dombrowski's even going to be there? So that's why I think, I don't know that for a fact, that's why I think he did not take the job. Now, if he didn't take the job this year and they don't succeed, I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. And they don't succeed in losing the playoffs, what makes you think Alex Cora is going to take the Phillies job next year rather than take a job with a young team? I think Washington, and I don't know you look at teams that are young and have a chance to get better. And I think Washington has a chance to get, I'm just picking out a team because I know that, they're a decent team, and I don't know what young players they have, but they have good young players, probably a better system than what the Phillies are going to produce. So why wouldn't he look around before he takes the Phillies job?
I take that Orioles job.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to them. They have some really good young players.
They made so many trades, and they have such a young, good group. Because you mentioned,
I know.
I was thinking, does he take the Met job? The Mets have spent more money than the Dodgers, and they're the worst team in baseball. They got 15 wins right now. Or do you go like this? Do I take that Orioles job that has so many young players there? It's probably a pitcher and a center fielder away.
Yep. And in the same division that he worked, so he knows them better. But, you can look over teams. I don't know that he's the next manager of the Phillies, and I don't think Don Mattingly is going to take the job. He's basically said, I'm at an age, and he's got an 11-year-old. I'm at an age, I don't want to have to work every day, 24/7. I don't want to do that at this point in his life. He's done all that. He's not going to win a World Series with the Phillies, and that's the ultimate goal. Do I have a chance to really succeed? And that's it's my opinion, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't think, no, he's not, unless they win the World Series, he's not the manager next year, and I don't think they're going to win a World Series.
Does Dombrowski survive?
Well, it depends on the season. And Dombrowski has an out because once baseball approves expansion, Dombrowski has a home in Nashville. He's put a few years into building an infrastructure for a franchise there. And Nashville, if they approve expansion.
It's Nashville and Portland, supposedly.
Nashville's going to get a franchise, no question. And that's where Dave Dombrowski will go. So there's kind of an out. There's a landing spot for him and say, hey, and I don't know when baseball would approve expansion. But
after this collective bargaining agreement, because
so they could approve it before the Philly season next year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
depending on how long that goes, because I think they're probably going to shut down in December for a little bit for that deal.
Yeah, but they're going to start before. They might go into spring training. But when they come out of it, if baseball gives them an indication that once they approve that, they will expand, and Nashville's really, they're a lock to
Howard,
get
do
a
you think
franchise.
Middleton's a good owner?
Good owner. Let me just try to. Boy, it's a hard question to answer. I would say no, and here's why I would say no. I don't care that he goes and shakes hands with the fans in the stands. That's like a big thing. I would say no. And the reason I would say no is he's listened to the players too much to make decisions. And is he a good owner? At first, I thought he was. And he spends, to kind of keep it in range. But no, I think he's okay. I think he's okay. But Trey Turner is here because of Bryce Harper. That's a mistake. And Bryce Harper got a lot of what he wanted. And there was players that were signed and brought here because he was influenced by the players. The owner can't really get involved. There's a side issue there too, which has nothing to do with the team. But, he comes off like he's this great owner because he goes out in the stands and shakes hands. That's great. It helps his ego. So, he's okay. I think that would be my answer. Is he a good owner? He's not a bad owner, but he's okay. He's okay.
I want you to know this. When you started the program out and you said that the Sixers were coming off the top rope on you, that's when I know you still got the juice, dude. That's to me, that's a merit badge, because anybody who takes a crap on the messenger and's not listening to the message are people who are not really wanting the true narrative out. The Sixers seem petty.
Well, they didn't like it. They wanted their own building, which wasn't going to work in any way, shape, or form. Infrastructure wise, their projections on cost were $500 million less than it was going to cost. So the city would be stuck with that. They were building it over a train station, so it would cost more because they had to build it a level above the train station. That's just, the law and the rules. And the infrastructure, there's an emergency room 2 blocks away. During game night, Howard ambulance is going to get through to the emergency room. Are you kidding me? What are they going to drive on the sidewalk and run over people? It was a total joke. They eliminated a bus station, which they had an option to buy, and people were standing on the street in the rain, waiting for Greyhound and other buses because they eliminated the bus station. Now they've rebuilt it because, for the 250th birthday. But the reality, it was never going to happen. And they were angry that I railed on it but I railed on it because I didn't say, well, that's a terrible place to have it. I got information on the costs, the infrastructure, what was going on. I got all the information I needed, and I said, it's impossible. This can't happen. And one of their executives yelled at me for at one time, and then they just, then they crapped on me. But that's okay. I did my job. They don't want me at news conferences because, this year you had to ask a lot of questions, but it doesn't. It doesn't happen. It's just you can't be their friend. Well, you can be their friend, but you got to do the right job. You can be. I've been friends with people that have worked for teams, and I always try to do the right job. I always try to do my job, and that's what you got to do. And if they respect you as a person, then they respect that you're doing your job. So,
Howard, do you want to see a dome for the Eagles? Would you want to see it? No.
Nope. It took me a half a second to answer that. Nope. And
don't you want a Super Bowl?
If they build a new stadium, they're getting it anyway. Look, a worse weather environment is New York, right?
Yeah.
Whenever a team builds a new stadium, they don't have a dome. Whenever they build a new stadium, the NFL promises, because of all that, they get money from the state and the city. Oh, we'll have a Super Bowl there.
Nashville's getting one. Nashville's getting one. They're putting up a new one.
Yeah, I don't know what the weather situation's like there, but
I don't think Buffalo will get one.
No, because the weather is so terrible.
Yeah.
It's not about the game. It's about the week. And now there's like a 5 or 6 night minimum with hotel. And they want people to have fun when they're at the Super Bowl before the game. And a dome's not going to make any difference. If the Eagles build a new stadium, I don't know where they would put it. And I don't know how they can do it. A dome, they don't have to have a dome to get a Super Bowl, but they're only going to get one. The people, they're not going to get more than one, even if they put a dome up there, because you have to worry about the weather. Remember, when they had that Super Bowl in New York, there was a snowstorm that week. That week, they were really lucky. It didn't hurt that much.
That's right.
Because it cleared up for the last few days.
It did.
So it doesn't matter
I was there for that.
when you have a new stadium, the NFL promises you, for the most part, that you're going to get a Super. You don't need a dome. The only reason the Eagles, and I think Jeffrey Lurie is a terrific owner, but the only reason they want it, more suites, new seat licenses. Remember, that's the big thing too. Seat licenses, new seat licenses for more seats and higher money. They're going to make $400 million, and I'm probably estimating low on seat licenses. They get a new stadium, more seat licenses, higher prices, more suites. That whole thing, and the dome is just.
Will Philadelphia taxpayers give it to them?
I think the state and the city will be forced to give them a lot of money.
There's no way the governor came out, Shapiro said that they're not allocating money.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that they can. Well, the city's broke anyway. The city can't give them a lot of money. But the reality is, I don't know how they'll do it, but a dome doesn't change anything. I want games in inclement weather. I mean, some of the most fun I've had at games. I don't like the rain. I've stood in the rain and it's brutal, down there on the field. But the snow was fun. There was a game against Detroit. My gosh, they started their buses up before halftime to get the hell out of there because they came from a dome stadium. You have an advantage if you're in one of those cities and you're playing a team that comes from a dome stadium in November and December.
Howard, how about this? How about this? The Minnesota Vikings, you and I, when we were younger, the Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls. When they put that top on Hubert Humphrey Dome, they've never been back. And you took one of the greatest home field advantages away from the Vikings, having to go up there in sub 38-degree weather when you played at the old Metropolitan Stadium. You took the entire home field advantage away. It's like going to Miami in November when the temperature is like 90 humidity and you got a team from New York coming down and they're sweating their baguettes off.
Here was the problem and that's where the Eagles played, in Minnesota. I went out one night during the week to a basketball game because I knew the head coach, Thibodeau, and their assistant, Ed Pinkney. So I said, let me go to a basketball game that week. I went out. It was so cold. It was so – and I had still had my broken leg, which I didn't tell anybody about until it was all over. Because I couldn't wear a cast. But I went out. I said, you got to be kidding me. So what other people went out at night? It's below zero. People can't have fun there. They're never going to have another Super Bowl there. Never. No way. Just because they had a dome, that's not the way it works. And New York is the mecca of this country. Have they gotten another Super Bowl? No.
No way.
No
way. How was that for you when you went up to Minneapolis when they won the first Super Bowl?
I stayed where the hotels were.
Did you like it? Was it a good experience going up there to Minneapolis?
No. The game was great. The game was one of the greatest games in Super Bowl history. It's the best Eagles Super Bowl that I'll ever see. So it was so good. But we stayed in both hotels were at each end of this shopping mall. So we just walked around the mall for 6 days. I went out one night. I mean, because you didn't want to go outside. It was brutal. So it was not a good experience. What,
I heard that stadium's nice.
How many times can I go into a shoe store or a sporting goods store, or how many times can you do that? I mean, it's
Dude.
just give me a break.
All right, Howard, who do you got coming up on the programs? By the way, killer guest that you're getting on, dude. Killer guest.
Okay, here the Sixers are the topic in town here. Football is kind of like an afterthought, even though they have their their OTAs, because they're not into it yet. And there's the Flyers fans. Oh, they're amazing. What
did you make of the run and then getting swept?
The other team was one of the best teams in hockey. The fact that they got there, but they played tough every game.
Carolina's 8-0 right now.
I know. They played a hell of a game. Every game was the Flyers are on their way. They're on their way. And the fans at the end of that last game gave them a standing, they all stayed there and gave them a standing ovation. All that Sixers fans would do is yell at Joel Embiid, leave town, get out of here. You suck. And then there was so many Knicks fans there.
Hey, Keith has done a great job with the Flyers. He's done a great job, man.
Danny Briere, and Rick Tocchet. So the fact that they gave him, it was inspiring. Those fans are different. They booed the Phillies when they showed up one night, which that's the Flyers fans. So they're a different breed. But now I forget what your question was. What was the question?
What do you got coming up? Who do you got coming up on the
program?
Okay.
The Sixers are the talk of the town. So the last head coach to win a championship for the Sixers was who?
Cunningham.
Yes. Billy Cunningham is on tomorrow night, Wednesday night.
Bring out of here, really?
Yes, he's on Wednesday night, 7:30.
Oh shit, man! Really?
Billy Cunningham,
God,
43. I think it's 43 years ago. They had one of the best teams ever in the NBA. That was one of the.
When I was a young kid, because of Dr. J, I was a Nets fan, not a Knicks fan. I just didn't. But when Dr. J got to the Sixers, I was like, all right, I'm a Sixer fan. Then when they had Moses and Mo Cheeks and all them guys, dude, that little run that from 1980 until like 86 or 7, that Sixers team was so freaking good. And I was shocked. I remember I was a young kid in 80. I thought they were up in that series against the Lakers. And then the Lakers won the final 2. They won 5 and 6. And they beat them. And for whatever, I think the Barr missed game 6. That's the Magic 45, 14, and 6. I think he did when he won the MVP. But I was shocked that Sixers team got beat in 80. They should have had 2 or 3 NBA championships.
That was a great team. And it was, that was a great team. And that's the last time he was the head coach, the last time they won a championship.
Was Pat Williams the GM of that team?
He came around that time. I'm not sure if he was the GM or he just came in the midst of when Billy was I think in the midst of when Billy was the head coach.
Was Andrew Toney on that team too?
Yes. Andrew Toney, Mo Cheeks, who was the starting power forward.
Okay.
You'll never get his name. Well, you won't get his. Nobody will. Mark Ivoroni.
Oh.
And then Bobby Jones always came off the bench.
That's right. That lanky.
He came off the bench. That's the way they worked.
He was the sixth man, wasn't he? He was like the sixth man for them.
Yeah. And so he came off the bench. That's the way they played it. Moses was unbelievable and relentless. And he was just so incredible. They had for years the best record ever in the NBA until Golden State, whizzed past them. And I don't know if the Bulls got past them too.
I think they won 68 ball games, right? 67, 68 ball games.
And he was on a great team when they won the championship in 66, 67. Billy was a player.
That's right. Chamberlain led the NBA that year in assists.
Yep.
And that team
was it that year that he led an assist, but whatever. It's just, people complained they didn't have assists. So he says, okay, I'll show
Chet
you.
Walker on that team, that 66,
Yes.
67
Yep.
team.
Luke Jackson, that was the thing. But Billy was a champion as a player and as a coach. But he's the last coach to win the Sixers to win a championship.
Hey, man, I love that guy. And here's a Moses story. So when I went to Maryland my freshman year, Moses came and he was friends with Lefty Driesell. He loved Lefty. And he was going to sign a scholarship to go to Maryland and be a Terrapin. And Moses said, I'm going to do it, but hang on, I got to wait. The ABA came in, and I think he became a Virginia Squire, or if that was one of the names back then.
Yep.
He became like a Virginia Squire.
That was the ABA, right.
And he went into the ABA because they didn't have the rule about the high school kids then. And so they took him right out of high school.
And the Squires they became the Nets, I believe.
That's right. They were the Nets.
Yeah.
And somehow he left that, and then he went to the Sixers, and he got into Philadelphia. And
I had that story, and Pat Williams asked me, you know what, now that I don't know if he was there when Billy was there. He might have been the general manager once Billy was there, because Pat asked me, I had the story that the Sixers were going to they were trading for Julius Erving, but the deal with the ABA and the NBA hadn't been done yet. And his son told me later, I didn't know it at the time, there were so many papers he had to sign. So he asked me, he called me Howie, please don't go with that. I got a lot of things I got to take care of here. I says, okay, as long as you tell me when the deal's done. And he said, okay. So, you work out deals, but I didn't hold it because, I held it because he respected me to give it to me when the deal got done. And I didn't want to screw that up for him, because there was a lot of moving parts at the time, because the leagues had not merged when they completed the deal to merge when he made the deal.
So Costas told me this story, and I don't know if you know this. So there was a St. Louis team that was involved in this thing. And
the owners are still getting paid.
I couldn't believe this. And Costas goes, the St. Louis team was like the Spirit or something. I don't know, something like that. So when they merged the league, they went like this: you're not coming with us. However, we're going to pay you franchise rights every year.
Yes.
Like the TV deals, everything. So these original owners got paid the same amount of money that the Philadelphia 76er owners and the Knicks owners got.
Yep.
For like ever. And it was like one of the greatest deals of all time.
I know.
And I was like, wait a minute.
I knew about that. Yeah.
Still getting paid. And they go, yep, they're still getting paid.
I'm sure their families, their kids, if they're not alive, are still getting the money too. Imagine how many millions that is.
That's billions now. It's got to be.
Well,
right?
Total. Yeah, right.
Hey, finally here. Is Billy Cunningham a Carolina guy?
Yes. Yep.
He played for Dean Smith, right?
Yep. Yeah, Carolina guy. Drafted out of Carolina. Yep.
So
Kangaroo Kid was his name.
Did he play with the coach that was the former Sixer guy?
Larry Brown.
Did he play with Larry Brown at Carolina?
Yeah, he played with, was it Carolina? When he went to
because Larry Brown was also an ABA guy.
Yeah, he went to the ABA. Billy went to the ABA and he played with Larry Brown. Yeah.
So they must have played together at Carolina.
Yes. Well, did Larry Brown go to Carolina?
Yeah, Larry Brown's a Carolina guy.
Well, maybe that's where they played together. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know they played together with one of the kids.
Yeah, Larry Brown's a Carolina guy. He's a North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Larry Brown. I mean, I still talk to Coach.
Billy used to yell at Barkley was drafted the year after the championship. They must have made a trade because he was the 5th pick in the draft. He was drafted that draft, and he always would yell at Charles. Was always yelling at Charles. You could hear him through the whole arena, yelling at Charles.
You know what Barkley? You know what Barkley said that Dr. J told him. Dr. J told him, and Dr. J never talked. He never really talked to him. And finally, Barkley went up to him and he goes, "How come? What's going on?" He goes, "You're fat. You're lazy." And you're
Moses gave him that.
Oh, it was Moses that told him that?
Moses got in shape too. Moses, when he came here, got in great shape. And Moses is the one that told him and gave him a lot of crap about that. What Julius told him, Charles, you get that money, and Charles had 5 cars. He says, Charles, how many cars can you drive at one time? 1. Can you tell me why you have 5 cars? Can you tell me why? I don't really have a reason. So he cut back on his cars. Charles he's not a Mercedes guy. He's not, nothing wrong with Mercedes if you like Mercedes, but he didn't go for the fancy cars. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But Doc gave him advice too. Yeah.
Is he the greatest Sixer, Dr. J?
Well, the greatest Sixer is Wilt. So when you really break it down, then the greatest Sixer after that, it's really hard between, I'll say between Dr. J, Iverson, and Barkley. Barkley averaged or scored 20,000 points and 10,000 rebounds when nobody had him.
Only 5 guys have done that in league history.
Yeah. So, you got to, Charles never won a championship, but either did Iverson. But of those 3 guys, it would be if you take Wilt out of the equation, other than those 3 guys have to all be in the mix.
Where's Moses in that?
He's 1A. Moses is so much. Fuck. The people of Philadelphia are such morons. People said, "Oh, Joel Embiid is better than Moses Malone." Really? Oh, really?
No.
Moses was so relentless defensively on the boards. Moses would get 3 rebounds at one time because he wouldn't quit. The only
reason Embiid is talked of is because he's got a 3-pointer. But again, those guys didn't shoot 3-pointers. They were box players.
No, Tyrese Maxey is a really nice player. But
I like him a lot.
When they say he passed Allen Iverson with 3-point shots made, it's like he takes 300 more. He's already taken 300 more a year. Was it a year? Yeah, I think it's whatever. It's 300. No, he doesn't have 300. He takes more shots than Allen Iverson's ever taken threes. Do you know Maxey? Now here's where the number 300 comes in. It's now close to 400 more threes made than Michael Jordan. So what does that tell you? It means nothing.
I just know.
But that's not taken away from Maxey. That's just what the game has become.
Iverson will go down, in my opinion, as one of the greatest Mount Rushmore athletes ever to play in Philadelphia sports. He's just.
I'll give you another little.
I'll tell you this, man. That guy was just special, dude.
You know what? I'll give you another little. He came to practice after I'll just say partied the night before a lot of times because he would stay out till 3, 4 in the morning. And Larry Brown tried to talk to him. When he didn't practice and they had to give an injury report, the term flu-like symptoms were created for Allen Iverson. That term, flu-like symptoms, was created because of Allen Iverson.
Because Iverson was hungover from the.
I didn't say hungover. I just said
yeah, a flu-like symptom.
Flu-like symptoms. It's flu or it's not the flu.
Do you think Larry rode him too hard, or do you think Larry didn't?
Larry Brown.
Larry didn't ride him hard enough.
He didn't ride him because he kind of gave up on it a little bit. Because ownership kind of said,
Larry Brown gave up on.
He didn't give up. He just knew. He just tried to get him to play as hard as he could. And then Allen said he was hurt a few times. And I remember saying something to Allen, "You'll never be Michael Jordan if you don't go out there and listen to the coach." So, Allen beat by his own drummer. I mean, it was his own drummer. That's what it was.
So you think he was his own worst enemy?
Yeah, and he knows that now. He could have extended his career if he didn't party as much as he partied. But he played hard. When he got out there during the game, that's why he went off on that practice rant. Because for him,
were you in the room for that?
Oh yeah.
You were in the room for when he went on
the
practice?
Yeah. I was laughing my ass off. Oh, it was great.
Who started the question? Who was the guy that...
I forget. It might have been Phil Jasner. May he rest in peace. And it's just, practice. He says, We talking practice, not a game. We talking practice, not a game. The
my
game I live and die for.
It was one of the greatest rants of all time.
It was the greatest rant of all time.
Hey,
So,
Howard, man, that's great. Billy Cunningham coming on Wednesday. Saturday show
that's
too,
tomorrow
right?
night. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
that?
tomorrow night. And
Yeah, it's
Saturday
Saturday.
show, what time?
Tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, and Saturday, 8:00 Eastern.
Damn, dude. I'm gonna check that out. Billy Cunningham. I haven't seen that guy in a bit, and what a great coach. So you had Billy Cunningham then, you had Pat Riley then. Who was the guy? Boston. The guy who played
Red Auerbach.
no, the guy who played for Red, who was
Tommy
very-
Heinsohn.
No, Tommy Heinsohn was there, but the guy after Heinsohn. Oh man, not
Bill
Bill
Russell.
Pitt.
Bill Russell.
No,
No.
the guy who played on those teams, the black guy. What's his name? Oh God, he was the coach of the Celtics when they won those titles. I forget. Oh my God, man.
It's going to drive me crazy now. There were so many good Boston Celtic players.
But everybody back then that was like coaching, there were so many great coaches back then.
Yeah.
That were coaching, man. That was a great era of basketball. Do you like basketball now, Howard?
It's a terrible game. Terrible game. NBA basketball is a terrible game. It's in many times.
It's Casey Jones.
Casey Jones, right? It's a terrible game. It's a bad product. It's horrible. It's boring. And you have all these blowouts in the playoffs. It's a joke. It's all about 3-point shots. It's not working for the better shot. It's all.
Let me. I'm gonna sneak one last one in on you here.
Sure,
with
you are.
LeBron. Hey, I'm gonna try.
LaFraud.
So LeBron says he doesn't know what his future is. The greatest player in NBA history doesn't know what his future is.
He's not the greatest player in NBA history.
Why isn't he the greatest player of all time?
Michael Jordan won 9 straight championships. And then he took time off in between. No, not one. 6 straight championships.
Yep.
Took a year and a half off in between to play baseball, and then came back and won again.
Yep.
There's no way. Michael Jordan made players around him better. He didn't. It's like going to the schoolyard and choosing up your own sides. He didn't LeBron everybody. Well, let me go to a team. Oh yeah, well you come here and you come here. I'm going to go to a team that already has built-in stars. Dwayne Wade, he had to go where Dwayne Wade and Bosh was, and it's a joke. It's a joke. He always chooses up sides, and then he talks about after the game, that the closeout game, he talks about why he hasn't made a decision yet, because he's going to milk this, and so he gets attention. LeBron, what are you going to do? I don't know yet. I'm talking to my family. And then a week later, LeBron, have you made a decision yet? No, I'm going to talk. So it's always LaFraud. And then he talks about, it was tough. I had to make adjustments, and I didn't get to do this, wait a minute. It's about the team, brother. It's about the team.
I bet you he ends up in New York.
No, will not be too much scrutiny. And why would they want him?
I wouldn't want him.
No, I don't want him. It's going to get too much money, and all he's
you
going
want
to
him
do
in
is.
Philly?
Hey, do you know? No, not a chance. Do you know he scored 24 points in a close game against Oklahoma City? Lost the game. It was a 5-point game, right? You know what his plus minus was?
What?
Minus 25.
Oh my God!
He plays no defense.
None. Jordan won, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yes, he did. And he played every game for 9 straight years.
And that's right. And LeBron never has won that.
How can you say LaFraud is the best player?
I don't believe that.
He's not even in the top 5.
I'll take Kobe over him.
In a heartbeat. Last 2 minutes of a game, Kobe's a killer. Kobe's the best.
I take Lou Alcindor over him.
I take Larry Bird over him.
Yeah.
If you look at their numbers, they're similar. And Larry Bird was injured, but because he didn't play as long. Give me a break.
Yeah, Bird's a
I'd
better
rather
player.
have Larry Bird. I'd rather have Kobe. I'd rather have, Wilt for sure. Nobody talks about Oscar Robertson, but I know that's too far in the past, and I didn't really get to see Oscar play. But nobody talks about him. Charles thinks Tim Duncan's a better player than LaFraud.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, he's got 5 NBA titles.
Yep.
I mean,
and he didn't choose up his own sides.
And by the way, he played his entire career in San Antonio. And I mean, he's got, you know what? He's actually got more championships than Shaq O'Neal.
Yeah. Yep. So
okay. Howard, thank you so much for all this time. Hey, man, don't forget tomorrow night. What time again? You're going to have Billy Cunningham.
7:30 Eastern. 7:30 Eastern.
Very good. Howard, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you more than you know.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later. All right. Take care.
That is great. Howard Eskin, we appreciate him. Let's pay some bills here. Again, folks, we really appreciate the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason being with us. That's Morgan & Morgan. Folks, I tell you, with over $20 billion recovered, nobody has a better injury law firm in the world than Morgan & Morgan. I tell you about the family in Pennsylvania all the time. They were initially offered $650,000. They got nearly $26 million in settlement. Or the family in Florida that was initially offered $350,000. They got nearly $12 million in settlement. Folks, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Yeah, so tomorrow will be Battle Royale. This is why I said this yesterday. AJ stunted Smitty's growth, not on purpose. If AJ wouldn't have been traded here, Devontae would have developed quicker. I think, Kim, you're giving Devontae the benefit of the doubt that you think he's going to be a JSN. I don't know that yet. I don't know if he's a number one. That's all assumption. And I'm not sure about that yet. We'll see. When you become the focal target. His first year, was his rookie year, so you got to kind of but he didn't have the impact that Jefferson had his first year. He wasn't that kind of player. He didn't have the same impact that Jamar Chase had. And if he did, they wouldn't have traded for AJ the next year. If Devontae Smith had come in, it wasn't AJ that stunted his growth. It was the quarterback play that stunted his growth. And then what they did with the style of passing. Okay? That's not true at all. As a matter of fact, he's one of my favorite players. But don't start You know what? You know what's crazy? So in Sills' eyes, Smith is a bum. No, you drafted a guy 10th overall. Then the next year you made a trade for a number one. You tell me what that planned out. Nobody does that. You don't draft a guy number one, and then the next year you make a trade for another guy to be a number one. I mean, you didn't see the you didn't see the Vikings drafting a wide receiver the next year to take over for Justin Jefferson as the primary target. I mean, not true. Plus, he's the 10th pick. This guy's the 10th pick in the draft. And listen, with him, I don't know. We'll see. Well, because to me, it's going to be more on the quarterback. Is the quarterback going to get him the ball? And is it going to be? How about this? Here's something else to think about. This year's passing game, will it be as predictable as it's been the last 5 years? Well, again, all questions yet to be determined. I have no idea how this thing's going to look. And you heard Howard. I'm so happy. At least we get another guy in here to try to explain to you that a fluff piece was coming on Jalen Hurts. When they put that thing out, that Jeremy Fowler fluff piece, that was a makeup for them giving the information on that one where he said he was at a crossroads in the matter of 3 weeks? That shit's all been resolved. Give me a break. That's not how that works. I haven't been on the field yet, and everything's kumbaya. Holy shit. You believe anything. So it's another reason I think 26 will be John's last year in Philadelphia, Jalen's, I'm assuming, is because his agent won't want him playing a year with no guarantees left, which might help Howie get Jalen to waive his no trade or cut. If Hurts doesn't get a contract this offseason and he goes into this year and he plays mediocre, how about this? If he plays average and the offense is average, they're not going to extend him. If he's got to be exceptional for them to move forward. He just can't be, well, I'll win 11 games, get bounced in the opening round, throw for 3,200 yards and 23 touchdowns and 8 picks. That's not going to get an extension. DFW, that's not going to be good enough. Okay? Sills, any truth to the rumor that we're looking at Diggs? I freaking hope not. Here's one thing to think about with Diggs. You need another wideout. to me, that would be a true indictment on what they're doing. If they sign another wideout and they bring another wideout in, they are totally going all deep, knee deep in when it comes to changing this passing game, more than you think. Okay? I mean, if I were the Cowboys, I would look at Diggs. If I were the Chiefs, I might look at Diggs. You're going to get him on a cheap deal. I mean, you're not going to have to pay $25 million for that guy. Even though he did have a grand last year, you're not paying $25 million for that guy. It's just the offense that Manning will be running has no focal point. The offense is based around spreading the ball around to everyone. Okay, so they're not going to have a primary target, Sean. So if you don't have a primary target, I mean, Jalen has shown no ability to spread the ball around. So all of a sudden, that's going to be a new, and again, on May 12th, we don't know if he can or can't. They've never asked him to. They've never asked him to. So we shall see. They say Dig wants to go to Commanders, which would put the Commanders out on getting Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk is a decent player. I don't think he's a special guy. I mean, I think he was given the ability by Kyle Shanahan to be put in good positions, to be open. I think Brandon Ayuk is a good player, but I don't think Brandon Ayuk is a better version of like Jahan Dotson and them guys. I think he was a really good product of that environment and that system. I don't think he was a special dude, man. Yeah, that's why I said Dallas. If Burrow comes available, I'm not thinking twice. Hurts in 2 first. Would Cincinnati do that? Hurts in 2 1s? Man. Well, you got to put Joe Burrow's injury factors in. Hurts in 2 1s for Joe Burrow. Especially if Burrow gets hurt again. See, Burrow's injuries would bug me on the 2 1s. Not on giving up Hurts for him. I would send him in a minute. But the 2 1s, I think this is what Howie's doing in 28. He's setting himself up for something big in 28. I don't know what that is. I mean, maybe that's when Lamar and Burrow and some of these guys, maybe even Allen's deal would be up then. I'm not sure what, but he's trying to set something up. Other teams are going to stack the box and bracket Smith and dare Jalen to beat him with other players. Yeah, just like they did a year ago, and he couldn't do it. I still think it's not going to be full on West Coast. Don't think the coaches are that delusional, but you never know. Hey, Michael, I never thought Nick Sirianni would hire another coach back-to-back that's never called plays. You never know. I mean, I thought that was crazy. Hiring a guy who's never been a play caller. It's not worked out. Name me one guy that they've hired that's never been a play caller on offense that's worked out. Name me one. I mean, you can't name me one guy. And then they went right down that lane again. Sales, the only reason there is smoke with Ayuk to the Commanders is Suck wants to play with Jalen Daniels. Ayuk wants to play with Jalen Daniels. They played together at ASU before Jalen went to LSU. I've forgotten that. You're right. Brandon Ayuk was an Arizona State Sun Devil when Jaden Daniels was there. So I had forgotten Brandon Ayuk played with Herm Edwards when he was there at Arizona State. That's right. Jaden Daniels, we've had Herm on a bunch of times. And one of the reasons that I really love Jaden Daniels is because of what Herm said about him. Like, he's a modern day Randall Cunningham in the way he plays. Just an elite guy, an elite player. And I'll tell you what, they got to put offensive players around him. By the way, I saw something else that Big Z said. What was that? There was his guy Jimmy Kempski had his all NFC East team. And the quarterback he picked was Dak Prescott. Prescott last year, 404 completions, 600 attempts, 67 completion percentage, 4,552 passing yards, and 30 touchdowns against 10 picks. Think about this for a second. Jalen had 454 passes last year. Dak Prescott had 50 less completions than Jalen had attempts. That's high volume passing. But a lot of that is because they were behind. And you got to look at those numbers, and they were behind. I remember heard that glowing reviews of Jaden. Yeah, hey, here's another Philly guy talking about Dak being better than Hurts. Again, I don't even have to write these any longer. I guess Jimmy Kempski had his preseason all NFC East team, his offensive addition. Prescott's his quarterback. Barkley is his running back. Yeah. I think Williams in Dallas had a better year last year, and he did. Receivers were Lamb and Neighbors and Smith. Okay. Tight end Goddard over Jake Ferguson. Not me. Lane Johnson and Laramie Tunsil. I would have went Jordan Mailata here and Lane. Cowboys both guards. I would have said that. Cooper Beebe. I would have said that too. Had a better year than Cam a year ago. But Dak Prescott is his quarterback. How funny. Sills, it's crazy that Jordan Tyson was one of those players that Coach Prime said needed to get in the portal when he got there, and he was one of the best receivers in college last year. Yeah, well, Coach Prime didn't have one guy drafted this past year. He didn't have one guy drafted. Nobody from Colorado got drafted at all, let alone in the first round. Nobody was drafted from the Colorado Buffaloes. He's supposed to be this big-time recruiter. He's supposed to be this big-time, guy bringing guys in to Boulder. Like who? And, you thought I get the year before he had Shador and he had Travis Hunter. Well, dude, when you're in a good football program, you have good players every year. You don't have them every couple of years. I saw something really cool. Get this. This is dope here. Somebody sent me this. That the University of Miami in the modern draft, let me put this up here. in the modern draft, we have had drafted more defensive tackles than any program in the country in the history of the draft at 60. I'm one of those guys. We've had 60 guys. I thought we had that list up here. Here it is. The most defensive linemen drafted of all time. Miami had 60. Bama had 59. LSU had 58. FSU had 53. Southern Cal had 51. Florida had 50. And Notre Dame had 50. UM's got 60. And I'm one of those dudes. Pretty cool. All right. Hey, my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, number one injury law firm in all of America, over $20 billion recovered. Folks, this will be the easiest decision you ever make in your life. I mean, I've known this family for over 25 years and how they built and how they go and defend families across this country. If you're ever hurt or injured on the job, make no mistake about it, this will be the easiest decision you ever make. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason the Karate Master was the #1 salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Appreciate you guys. Battle Royale tomorrow. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.